Hi, everybody. Who is there? Anyone there? 6574, I know you're there. Nice to see you. Namaste. Gayoung's with us today.
Yeah.
Make sure you say hello.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here to celebrate the 50,000 subscribers. Yay.
Yeah. Exciting times, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, 65, where are you coming from? Let me know. We got 6 in the room. Please let us know
Yep. Put the
who's there.
Yeah. Say hi.
Hi, hello. Anyone there? Your microphone's working, yeah? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear Gayoung? I guess you can, yes. Thierry, there he is. Chalmont, Champagne, France.
Oh.
Wow.
Howdy from
Dario,
Croatia.
Love it. Awesome.
Wow.
How is it today in Croatia and France? Sunny? Beautiful day? Ah, Michael.
Hi.
You're up. Michael's up early for sure. What time is it in California, Michael? Must be early.
Len B.
Yeah.
From UK.
Yeah, Len's he's always on the live stream, but it's usually like really late. Len usually stays on till like 3 a.m. So Len, it's a decent time.
Good.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't need matchsticks to keep my eyes open.
I see.
Sunny but cold, Dario. Michael, 4 a.m.
Wow.
Are you just waking up or are you just getting home? Andrew, hello. Nice to see you. Guys, there's 17 in the room now. Make sure you give a thumbs up.
Yep.
Helps the live stream get out. Damien, beautiful.
From Ireland.
Yeah.
12 at noon.
A lot of people who have been on the channel for a long time are here. Good stuff.
Familiar,
yeah. Eric, how do you say that? Penobscot Nation, Maine. In Maine. Yep. 7 a.m. raining. Beautiful, Eric. Wow. 7 a.m. in Maine. So, yeah, that's right. California's 4 a.m. That makes sense. Love it.
Yes.
I hope the times are right for you guys. Like, we wanted to try this time because I get a lot of emails from people in Africa and Europe saying, hey, you only cater to the North American audience and South American audience. It's like, no, well, not really. It's usually the most ideal time for myself as well. But Cassia, Brazil, love it.
Brazil, yeah. And how do you read it? Leo?
Where?
Murray.
Oh, Lyle. Yeah, yes. And Catty. Lyle. Lyle's been around for a long time too. Nice to see you all. Cassia, where in Brazil do you live? Raymond, Chicago, in the house. Thank you. Awesome. Guys, there's 19 in the room. Say hello. Make sure you drop a like, give a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or you want to ask Gayoung a question, feel free to do so. Jasmine, London, in the house. Good to see you. Migana, hi.
Toronto.
Leroy from Leroy, awesome.
Dario from
He's from Croatia. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
1 p.m.
Beautiful.
Good,
easy
good.
time. Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
Love
I've been
it.
to Rio.
Yeah, Gayoung's been to Rio.
Yeah.
Do you remember much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, nice beaches.
How long do you stay there at that time?
Just short period.
Short.
I don't really remember.
Yeah. But you went all over Brazil. Did you?
Not really all over. Some parts.
Some parts.
São Paulo,
the southern part.
Yeah.
How do we say that? Amagamente doce. Sorry if I butchered that, but Lisbon in the house. Awesome. What time is it in Lisbon? Must be, let's say 4 o'clock. Maybe no, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Similar to UK, wouldn't it?
Similar, yeah. Travis. Travis in the house. Another Patreon. Good morning, Mississippi. Yes, thank you, Trav. Love you, brother. Thank you. Rodrigo, hi guys, it's Sonia. I'm gonna get. It's Sonia. Okay, I won't try. I won't try and say your avatar. Huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll have a look first. 18 in the house. It's 12 p.m. Okay, I was way off. Sorry. What do we got? Yeah, it's Portuguese for bittersweet. That's interesting. Deserve more subs. That's what a lot of people think. Yeah. If only I knew the YouTube game. Yeah. But again, we all know, right? So if you don't make controversial content, or if you not, how would we say, like, if you're not involved in entertainment, it's very difficult to get a lot of subs. Though there are channels that obviously do, but like, there was many years there, right, where I had only like 3,000 subs for many years. And
kind of plateaued at 3,000
yeah, it's
subs.
kind of plateaued, yeah. And then it sort of went up to about 10, and then
from there it was got a little easier.
Got easier after 10,000. YouTube started to work out what was actually going on. A lot of people still don't really understand what this channel is about. Most of you understand that it's about Eastern spirituality and going into the traditional knowledge of Eastern spirituality. So that's kind of what we're doing. Okay, what do we got here? Rodrigo, a Chinese soul that was born in Uruguayan body.
I've been to Uruguay too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Wow.
But remember, I don't even remember the city.
Montevideo?
Montevideo, yes.
Yeah,
the coastal town. Yep.
Rodrigo, is Montevideo the capital city on the coast? Let us know. I can't. We're probably mispronouncing that. Yeah. He said content is too Taoist to have 1 million subs. Cheers, my friend. That's probably true. Yeah. No doubt about that. What do we got? Eric, love your work you guys do. And Eastern Spirituality, thank you. I listen to you guys over and over. I always get something new. An important message from Tao. Forever grateful. Eric, thank you. Much love. Yeah. Thank you. It means a lot to Gayoung too. Like she doesn't get to monitor the channel as much as I do. So I often give her the positive feedback that you guys give, and yeah.
Feel some sort of responsibility, and as well as obviously very grateful that all of you like what we do, especially what Jason does. He does more than me, so that means a lot. Yeah,
it really does. And you enjoy doing it, don't you? Like,
of course. I'm not very I am exciting person, but at the same time I like more studying and reading books and talking about these things. That's what we do all the time off the camera as well. So that's what I love to do.
Yeah. As I told all you guys before, this idea of the podcast kind of started about 6 years ago when Gayoung and we've been doing it forever. We just have a bit of a tea and we talk about the great knowledge, and we go just personally together deep within a lot of especially the knowledge that I, speak about and stuff. So, and particularly when we were in Tiruvannamalai, living in Tiruvannamalai in India, we kind of said jokingly, like, we should just have like a tea satsang somehow in some sort of forum.
You're like, yeah, we should have camera right here, right now. Like, yeah.
But we weren't really savvy with YouTube at the time. That was back in 2014. So, I mean, people were doing YouTube, don't get me wrong, but I didn't really know much about it. And so it wasn't until 2016 that I started seriously uploading videos on this stuff. So, and then it took a long time for YouTube to notice what was going on. Migana, yeah, me too. Higgs, totally deserve 50K. One of the best channels on my feed. Thank you, Higgs. It means a lot. Eric, her work is just as knowledgeable. Yes, that's for sure. There's perfect balance.
Thank you.
Yeah. I always tell her, she doesn't listen sometimes. Sonia says, what Sonia say there, love? I really
enjoy your channel content, Jason, both of you. very genuine, and that's what I like most in your video, and also the Dao. Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
The best feedback that we get is people understand the kind of the genuineness that we're trying to particularly present the knowledge in, because I think that Eastern spirituality, especially when it went to the West, people tried to jazz it up and take it out of the ordinary and make it like, extraordinary. And then it became like this big guru thing. And not that the guru centric thing is not important in India, but when it went to the West, and a lot of guys were, we know the story, right? A lot of people anxiously were trying to be teachers and so forth and so on, and presenting it in a particular way that I don't feel actually a lot of people resonate with. So,
And we actually firsthand witnessed this a lot
Yeah.
in a certain place within India as
Yes.
well, right? Like some random Westerners hold a satsang and things like that, and they prop themselves up, and
yeah,
we've witnessed firsthand. And then there's a bit of truth, there's a bit of BS, so we kind of wanted to do something real, raw, and genuine, and the best way we can, and best way we can be as well, right? So that's actually very important way to approach the knowledge as well. So,
guys, I've told you before that, just to elaborate on what Guy was saying, is that when, say if we're living in Tiruvannamalai, we used to joke to ourselves, actually with friends, like Brazilian friends that we got a good Brazilian friend in Tiru, and obviously good Indian friends, and we would kind of say rent a satsang, because when you'd go to, there's a German bakery in Tiru, and it's actually a really, really good restaurant, lovely guy, German guy who owns it, and he runs it with Nepali guys. But there's a notice board there, and every day there's a new person saying that they're holding satsang. It's like, that's that guy I saw the other day. So he he just arrived in Tiru and he became a teacher instantly. So you do get a lot of that. You get a lot of that also in Rishikesh and places like, not so much in Bodh Gaya, because Bodh Gaya, I think with Buddhism, it's a little bit different. But especially with Advaita Vedanta and yoga, there can be, and also Taoism, actually, surprisingly. When we were living in Dharmakot in northern India, there was a interesting fellow. He was teaching cosmic Tai Chi. So he said he had found this new aspect of Taoism, and what can we say, right? So,
but then like a few days later, we kind of came across to him, at a restaurant, and
yeah,
he wasn't happy with the food or something.
No,
he just went off,
and he let the lady know that he didn't. Anyway, cosmic Tai Chi is very wise, obviously. So, Lyle, this is great to see people from countries we don't usually see. It is, Lyle. Yes, thank you.
We don't see here either.
No. Yeah, exactly. Well, especially not now. Australia won't let anyone in. So, Sean, you guys do a great job. Thank you, Sean. I got into Alan Watts and Eastern spirituality about 2 years ago. Your videos really tie the concepts together for me. Thank you, Sean. Hello from USA. Sean, I thank you for the gratitude, my friend. We appreciate it. Luke, always listen to you both in the morning, and you never fail to put me in the right frame of mind for the day. Thank you so much for everything you do. Luke, means a lot. Thank you. Awesome, man. 34 in the room. Give a thumbs up, people. Awesome. Obo. Obo's always here too. Man. Well, at least I caught a tiny glimpse. Peaceful me. Good evening from the Philippines.
Yeah,
awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tiari, how do we say your name properly? If I don't want to mispronounce it, Tiari. How do you say in French? I always mispronounce that. He's been around for a while. Great. Patreon. And most live streams are at 2 a.m. Sorry about that. During the weekdays, so hard to attend whilst working. Yeah, I know. Sorry, my friend. But it's just the way it usually goes, because, fortunately things have changed in our schedule a little bit, so we can kind of pop on a live stream around this time. If you guys like this time, let us know. John C in the house, old school. Greens from the high desert. John, awesome, man. Eric, cool. Noah's long time too. Noah,
Hey friends. Hey.
good to see you. Who we are. Y'all are cute as F. California. There's some people early in California. Some early morning rises.
4 a.m.
Good time for meditation rather than the live stream, I think. All right. Obo. Yes, guys, you let me see Taoism is as attainable as, say, my next breath. Thank you. Obo, thank you, my friend. Thierry. That's how you say it. Thierry.
Okay.
Sorry, Thierry. My French is obviously non-existent. Merv, thank you guys for everything. Appreciate your work. Oh, from Germany. Merv,
thank you.
Let me know what time it is in Germany. We've been to Germany before. Loved it. Dario, I know it's rude. No, it's not rude to ask, my friend, but how young are you two?
Oh, thank you. How young are you two?
You guys, let us know. Drop an age. Drop an age. Guess for both of us. Guess for both of us. That should be funny. Travis, thank you so much for the purity of your content. Channels like yours are few and far between. Travis, thank you so much. It means a lot. Travis is a Patreon too. Thank you, Trav.
Thank you.
Awesome. Who are we? I'm meditating. Gregory, I just can't sleep. Awesome. Higgs, me and a friend, also fan of the channel, always find funny when Gayoung does hum when Jason speaks. Yeah.
I try not to, because I know how loud it comes across in the bloody microphone.
Yeah.
When you agree with something, you can't help it, I guess.
It's kind of just how natural it is, isn't it? Like again, with my channel, we don't try to put, and the podcast, we don't try to really put anything on. So what you see is what you get with us. They say Higgs said we do that with each other all the time. So Raymond, thanks for inspiring me to keep pushing forward. 2 full-time jobs at the moment. Must much. Raymond, wow. Migana, Indo in the house. India's here. 4:48 p.m. Love it. Migana, where do you live in India? Please let us know. Gayoung and I have probably been there. Finn. Finn's a long-time supporter of the channel too. Finn, great to see you, my friend. Thierry said, we're all as old as the Tao. No? Yeah, well, it's true. We all are the Tao, and there's actually no real separation. There's perceived separation. It's 1:20 p.m. in Germany. Love it. Beautiful. Merv, where in Germany do you live? Please let us know. Purple Fries. Oh, man, love you guys. Thanks for helping me further understand the Tao along the way. Purple, thank you so much. Mike from France. Mike.
Hey, Mike from France.
What's Obo say there?
You guys are both in your lion years.
Yeah, age-wise, 31-ish.
31-ish. Oh, thanks. 31-ish.
Anyone else want to have a shot? And have a shot at the age? Just keep going. Hi, Shirley from Sydney. Shirley in the house, Sydney.
Hey, Sydney.
Sydney's here.
Where about Sydney?
Yeah, we're in Sydney. Gayoung and I used to live in Sydney. Shirley, give us a reply if you can. Noah G, my friends have been enjoying your Alan Watts podcast. It's a great tool to introduce new people. Oh, no, that's great. Awesome to hear, man. Actually, a lot of people do like that Alan Watts podcast. We did. We were thinking about actually doing some more podcasts of greater individuals and sages from the past. So if you guys want that, then type the name of someone that you would like us to speak about. Hari Priya, blessings to all from Ireland. Hari, thank you. Appreciate it. Shirley, love you video, best spiritual information. Thank you. Luke, 7:20 p.m. in Hong Kong. Luke.
Wow.
We've only been to Hong Kong once.
Yep, for stopover.
Just a stopover, Luke.
Yes.
We need to stop there longer.
Megana is in Hyderabad,
Ah.
India. Yeah, I've been to Hyderabad. I loved it actually. I
Mm.
really like their culture down there.
Mm.
The Muslim and
Hindu.
Hindu mixed together, and I have quite fond memory. Yeah,
I have never been there.
Hyderabad is really nice.
You told me you loved it. Yeah.
I stopped to get to Calcutta, I think, from Chennai. Yeah.
Wasn't it that 52-hour train trip? So anyone who hasn't been to India, 52 hours is kind of is normal.
Only 52.
That's a normal. Just a short trip. It's just a short trip.
Yeah.
Wasn't that from Kanyakumari?
Kanyakumari is a small city.
Yeah, so no, but wasn't it from Kanyakumari to Calcutta?
Chennai? I had to stop a few places to get to Calcutta.
Ah.
So, yeah, from Kanyakumari to Chennai, Chennai to Hyderabad, and Hyderabad to Calcutta.
Ah.
Yeah.
I thought the longest train trip
we did
was Chennai to Bodh Gaya. Oh,
Puri.
Chennai to Puri. Yeah,
Puri,
sorry, Chennai to
yeah.
Puri.
Mm.
But we spent a lot of time in Puri, didn't we? So you can't really say it was all the way.
Yeah.
Who we are, Gregory? I have one question, man. How did you find your soulmate? I'm giving up on the idea. I don't know how, my friend. Pure luck. Huh?
Yeah.
But don't give up, my friend. Don't give up.
Sometimes right place.
Right place, right time. Right place, right time.
Tough one.
The funny thing is I wasn't looking for a soulmate, my friend. So it kind of just happened. 6:20 a.m. in Texas. Good time, Obo. Obo, where are you in Texas? In Salubris, Dithiram. In the house. Hi, my friend.
Hello.
Long-time supporter. Finn just discovered my Sekouts work, and again, all points to the Tao and stillness. Yes. Amazing how the great saints and sages points to the same ultimate harmony. Yes, they do. I
read a lot not about the quotes of Meister Eckhart in the perennial philosophy.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you want to, he's one of the Christian mystics that a lot of people ought to study, if they, especially if they want to get interested in Eastern philosophy too, because there's not a lot of, Christianity that, approves of Eastern spirituality, obviously. Yes. But when you get into my second, even like in more modern contemporary, when we talk about Thomas Merton, who I'm a big fan of, who I highly recommend, Barry O'Rourke in the house. Barry.
That Barry?
The Barry.
The Barry.
The Bazza.
Hey!
Bazza, how are you, sir?
Hey.
Good to see you. Man, long time. We met Barry, for everyone to know, Koh Lanta 2008 in Thailand. And we had a great time with Barry. And actually, one of our mutual friends unfortunately passed away, Caroline Kirk, give her a shout out, in 2016, 17. Barry, you would probably remember. Yeah. You haven't aged a day. Come on, Bazza. You have to send me a picture of yourself, sir. Awesome. That's man. That really trips me out.
Lanta, Emerald Lanta,
Emerald Lanta crew in Koh Lanta, Thailand. Wow, that's Barry. Let me know if you're still going to Thailand. Well, obviously not at the minute, maybe, but if you are going. Adriana, big holla from Boscos del Toro, Panama. Oh, Adriana, thank you.
Panama. Hola.
Finn glowing.
Thanks.
Thank you. Eshwa Bogaranju. Namaste, my friend. Namaste. Good to see you.
Namaste.
Oh, who's this? Oh. Ravin. Love from Norway.
Thank you.
Ravin, thank you so much for the Corona. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend.
Norway.
Yes.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful place. Ravin, we've actually been to Norway,
Trondheim.
Trondheim,
Mm.
Nordtrodlag in the north.
Mm.
So like you go from Trondheim, Nordtrodlag.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
We
right.
spent some time in Oslo, Ravin.
I really liked Oslo.
I didn't mind
Really?
Oslo. Yeah, I liked it.
Mm.
We didn't get to spend much time in Trondheim though, because
Nah, actually not. Because
No.
that's the tip of my head. I
Yeah,
just remembered.
because we went straight from Trondheim airport straight to Nordtrodlag.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
so I actually spoke in Norway, Ravin. I did some lectures up in Nordtrodlag at a retreat center.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, if you can believe it.
Mm.
So
Beautiful place.
beautiful place. Yeah,
Mm.
beautiful place. Yes. What do we got here? Oh, Colombia in the house.
Colombia. Wow. I'd
Good.
love to go to Colombia. I heard
Yes.
really beautiful.
Beautiful.
Mm.
This is David in Mandarin.
Mm.
David, nice to meet you.
No, Da Wei. That's.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
he said.
Yep.
So, how long have you been together?
Since
2007.
Yeah, end of 2007.
Mhm.
So yeah.
End of 2007.
Mm.
Ashwa, yes, namaste, my friend. Namaste from
Yeah,
India.
from
Ashwa,
India.
where are you coming from?
Where are you from in India?
Yeah, where do you live? 49 in the house. Make sure you guys give us a thumbs
Yes.
up. I hope you guys are having a morning or afternoon tea like we're having.
Yep.
Obo. Yes, San Antonio, right in the smack in the middle. Awesome. San Antonio looks like a beautiful place, Obo. I've seen a few actual travel vlogs there before.
Yeah.
There's what's that? There's a river. What do they call it, Obo? There's a kind of where all of the restaurants are. There's like a little river in the. Anyway, I don't want to say what it is, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. You look at Shirley.
Shirley, is Gayoung Korean? Yes, I am. Actually, my first spiritual learning journey from a Korean Taoist master from Iksan must be Iksan. There is Chi Meditation Center in West Perth. I wasn't aware of it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
Yes. What do we have? Let's go. Adam Gayoung is so cute.
Oh, thank you.
He's a cutie.
The camera is pretty good, I think. looks pretty good.
Come on. You can't fool anyone around here. My subscribers, they know what's going on. Someone's from Brisbane. Hiwa. Brisbane in the house.
Hey.
Local.
Neighborhood.
Who we are? Do you think Eckhart Tolle is a fake spiritual guru? I don't know. I don't really want to say anything too negative about anyone. So, I don't know much about Eckhart, to be honest with you. I have never read any of his books. I mean, I've read some of The Power of Now, and I listened to some of his talks 10 years ago or something like this. And some of the talks I listened to were actually pretty good. He spoke a bit about Tao Te Ching actually a long time ago. My thing has always been that, because I've always been interested in actually the traditional knowledge, so I don't really like to learn from someone who doesn't understand the traditional knowledge. And look, I don't know him personally, so I can't really say that he doesn't understand the traditional knowledge, but he packages it in a way that's it's kind of stripped away of traditional and cultural tenets. So basically what Tolle teaches, from what I've been able to sort of sense, and also what I heard Daniel Pinchbeck once say, is that it's kind of Advaita Vedanta for like stripped of all of its philosophy in some sense. So, and there are certain teachers like that, right? Like, he's not the only one. There are a lot of, particularly Western teachers, that are like that. So I can't really say it's fake or not. Like,
yeah, I just wanted to say that these Westerners who deliver these messages, although they might understand the deeper knowledge, but they might have to put a certain language to word it a bit easier to make it more palatable and more suitable for Western-minded people to deliver this extremely Eastern way of thinking. I think that's why he may seem a little bit too like a commercialized product, became a kind of product and things like that. But I think he himself is he understands the knowledge in a proper way.
In a proper way, yeah.
Yeah.
And look, we don't want to begrudge anyone for making a living. Like, I mean, anyone should be allowed to earn a living for their family and for themselves, right? We don't want anyone going poor. So, I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to what he does. So, I'm neither here or there. I leave that up for you to decide. Personally, like I prefer to stick to the traditional knowledge. So, and that's what I try to teach on the channel. That's what we talk about in the podcast. And to let you guys know, tomorrow is the 12th episode of the 81 Meditations of the Tao Te Ching. So make sure you guys tune in for that. We recorded that today. So this is kind of overtime with you guys tonight. So, well, tonight for us. So Finn, he isn't fake. He's doing a great job communicating, portraying stillness to the Western world. Yeah. Of course, his knowledge is far deeper, but he only has certain words to communicate. Words can only go so far, Finn, yeah? You guys are looking so fresh. Thank you, you passed. What have we got? Look, Barry. You both done exactly what you told me all them years ago. Barry, thank you. Barry, let me know if you're going back to Thailand, man. Tell me what's happening. Are you in Ireland? Let me know. Let's just scan this a bit. Finn's just elaborating. I don't think he particularly wants to be a spiritual guru by any means. He just goes directly to stillness. Yeah, this is true. Finn, this is true. The thing is that there are other teachers, though, and we know some that go to Tiruvannamalai who put on the stillness as well. And I won't mention some of their names, but they will use, say, Ramana Maharshi's teachings, and they will portray themselves as someone who's living in stillness. And then when you deal with them privately, I mean, it's a different story. I'm not saying Eckhart's like that, but I know other people that are like that. I mean, there is that in spirituality too, right? That there is a bit of, sometimes where there's money, you can smell blood, right? So, I mean, yeah, Finn, cut straight to the line. Yeah, well, that's the whole point of, particularly Ramana Maharshi's teachings, right? You're just going straight to the source. So, Barry, an inspiration to the world. Bazza, thank you. Amazing what you two have achieved. You deserve 2 gold medals for sure. Barry, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again, Barry. Don't be a stranger, my friend. So let's have a look here. Ayush, do you know Sadhguru? No, not very well. Sanya, Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you, Sanya. Where are you coming from? Ayush, Sanya, we're in India. Do you live in India? Let me know. Eric, always look forward to your videos. Thank you, Eric. Plenty of videos coming on the horizon, my friend. Orbitus, I'm going to Tai Chi Chuan classes. Any advice? And how are you both doing? We're doing great. Thank you. Any advice? Just follow the lead of the teacher. If they are genuine, if you can sense that they are a genuine teacher, follow the lead. There's not really any advice. You've got to be an open book for those sorts of practices and not go in there with any sort of, preconditioning or any sort of bias when you learn any sort of form of meditation. So that's what's important. 51 in the room. Make sure you guys give a thumbs up. Only 64 thumbs up. Let's get it to 100.
100.
Let's try and jam it up. We'll get up to 200. Are there any who's this? You passed. Are there any techniques that have helped you guys have a healthy relationship together? Techniques? Not really. Just basically being sincere in our practice, sincere with each other, learning to listen to each other, which is,
Yeah.
I guess that's the difficulty for a lot of relationships. Is it?
I think one of the advantages that we had was we traveled a lot together. Like, so go through some like unexpected situations during the traveling, and we went to some out there places together and went through not like hardship or anything like that, but we share a lot of
Good memories.
good memories, unique experiences, and yeah, so that's why we always have something to talk about. Like, yeah, that's which is really good.
Yeah, we've shared in a lot of experiences together. Like, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, we could shower each other with many superlatives, you could say. But just just, I don't know, it's hard to say, isn't it? Like, because it's not really a particular technique. It's just like living together, and we are always together majority of the time. Like, we've rarely spent. Have we ever really spent more than 2 days apart? Maybe when you
when I had to come to Australia.
to Australia,
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days, yeah, that's the longest we've ever been apart.
Yeah, always together, and I think first and foremost we like the same thing. I mean, knowledge-wise, like
Yeah, of course, yeah.
read and
Explore,
learn and
explore.
grow, and that's why our source of conversation never really dies off. It's always there, something always new and fresh, and always there's things to learn from each other, and we share a lot from what we read in the books that we read, right? Like, and share the ideas, and that kind of keeps it always fresh.
I've met a lot of people through my work too. Like, so we've had shared experiences with that. Gayoung's been there, obviously, with me the whole way on this journey, teaching and stuff like that, which was very foreign to me 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, it was completely new.
Completely new. And I was really nervous at the beginning, as you remember.
Yeah.
And so, because when I was starting to get asked to go to lectures and stuff like that, it was kind of like,
it was completely unexpected,
and because all that I really had out there at that time was one book, a lot of articles, and that, but people were reading, and YouTube wasn't really a thing back then, like 2009, 2010 wasn't. So mainly most of my work in the early days was all articles and my first book and everything like that. So, all right, let's have a look. Gayoung, do you like to drink coffee?
Do I like drinking coffee? Not really. No. I drink, like, I make it a special occasion.
If we go somewhere.
Yeah, because I don't really enjoy drinking coffee very much. I prefer tea, and yeah.
You don't enjoy jitteriness, like?
Oh, I can't handle it. No, not my thing.
No.
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. What about Adi Shankaracharya Vedanta? Love it, Sanya. Love it. I've got a lot of content actually on Shankara.
Yeah.
And, some of the greatest texts I've ever read, especially on non-dualism, is from Shankara. I love the Mandukya Upanishad Kataka, Self-Knowledge, the Viveka Chudamani, you name it. I love it. I highly recommend anyone to read Shankara's books. And I've mentioned that a lot on the live streams, actually, with you guys. So I hope you guys are actually having a look. As I've explained to all of you, like, my introduction to a lot of spirituality was through Advaita Vedanta to begin with. So, that was my kind of spiritual grounding in some sense. That, and also Jiddu Krishnamurti. So, and both gave me a good grounding for understanding other philosophies, and Sanya, yes, I'm Indian. Love it. Where in India are you from, Sanya? Let us know. Orbitus, yeah, that's clear. As far as I know, she's from Tibet. Awesome. A Tai Chi Chuan teacher from Tibet.
Mm.
She is Tibetan or Chinese. That is interesting. What does David say there, love?
I really like the 81 meditations. Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday, I went to a chakra alignment workshop and remember that it was the first video I saw from your channel.
Awesome. Which David, which one? The podcast of the chakras or the other ones that I've done on the chakras?
More like lecture.
Yeah, the more lecture, because I've got a bunch of content on chakras. Finn, being sincere in practice together must be quite amazing blessing indeed. Yes. Thank you, Finn.
Yes, it is.
Nick Star, you guys haven't aged much. Nick, who's that?
Which Nick?
Yeah, Nick Star, you guys haven't aged much. I don't know who that is. Is that? I could guess one Nick, but I won't say the name. Also, guys, remember someone had a guess of our age. Remember, throw in some ages just for fun.
Have a guess.
Have a guess. Someone said 31-ish. We'll let that keep rolling. All right. David, my question for you is, how can you talk about the lonely journey to spirituality when you two look so adorable together? David, thank you, my friend. Thierry, Jason, do you know a way to say? Yeah, Thierry, I just haven't. I will get back to you. Thierry's actually creating. I don't know if you want me to say it's Thierry, but translating the French subtitles for The Art of Effortless Living. So I will get back to you straight after this, my friend. So sorry about that. I actually just finished my new book on Taoism on Friday. So I've kind of been swept up this week. So I finished actually handwriting my new book, which should be out in 2023. And I'll begin editing and typing that up on Monday. So. Obo, truly like when you say the topics of the teachers being stripped for Western palates. I like how Eckhart lets me see the Western religion and Taoist with rose-colored glasses. Oh, okay. Finn, ever expanding. This is very good. Beyond. Thank you, Finn. Shirley, and you guys sharing on YouTube is one of my great teachers too. Shirley, thank you.
Thank you.
Mystic in the house. Hi to Mystic, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, she's a long-time supporter. Good to see you. Sania. Vrindavan. I love Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Huh? Obo, I feel like Hundan. Awesome. Who knows what Obo is talking about when he says, I feel like Hundan? And if you don't know, then I highly recommend you go and watch our podcast on Hundan. Victoria, blessings to you both. Thank you, Victoria. Mike, you are lucky. Some are alone on this path, even if they have loved ones or relatives around them.
True.
What is your thinking about that? Mike, we actually just did a podcast on that. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
Yes.
Loneliness on the spiritual path. I recommend you go and have a look at that one. You'll see. And I've actually mentioned, we mentioned that on the podcast too, that Gayoung and I really only have each other. Like we don't really have close family, especially because of what we do. And so, as you probably know, Mike, from experience, that when you're interested into deep inquiry, the nature of reality, particularly Eastern philosophy, which can seem as exotic to particularly Western families, then you're kind of on the fringes. Yeah. So Gayoung and I have kind of lived beyond the border for a long period of time. And so our relationships with both of our families is, I don't know. I don't even know really what to say about it. It's not really existent. So that doesn't really bother us because, we are lucky that we have each other.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
So, but to answer your question, we kind of speak about that on the podcast. So it's probably, instead of us dragging it out here, you know, you can go and have a look at that. Do you want to answer that one, or you want?
Do you guys have any plans to have kids? Just curious. Nope. Just like to thank you guys for teaching of the Tao. I'm learning and now embracing it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Peaceful Ming.
Yeah, not planned for any children, and yeah, we are busy doing our things, and we enjoy living our life, just us two. Yeah, so
these kids and that are horses for courses, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things that a lot of people that think, you know, like families and that, think that it's kind of it's a given that you're going to have kids. And there are people these days that are choosing not to do that. And if you want to have kids, that's great. If you don't want to have kids, that's also great. It's always your choice, right? So I know in this day and age, people like to tell each other what to do, but in the end of the day, it's your life, Peaceful Me. So whatever your choice is. Gayoung and I have always had a really, our relationship's really close, and I don't know, it's almost like there's not much room for anyone else in the relationship, and we love traveling and everything.
I couldn't imagine.
And also, like, we're too busy doing, like, my work takes up a lot of time, if you can imagine. And Gayoung also is a musician, which takes up a lot of time. And so it's really, again, it's horses for courses. Victoria, any advice for someone seeking to deepen their knowledge of Eastern spirituality? With so many avenues, I find myself being a bit spread thin to the point where I don't feel like I'm able to dive deep. Victoria, great question. And I understand where you're coming from. When I was really young on the path, and I started reading a lot of literature when I was younger, because I'm interested in all of the philosophies, it kind of felt like I knew bits and pieces of the teachings and this and that. But you really have to, again, it's about reading the right literature. I would highly recommend, to give you kind of a deeper understanding, reading something like The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley. Also reading Total Freedom by Jiddu Krishnamurti. Now, not to say that either of those books are going to give you a great framework of each tradition, but it will give you an understanding of kind of the essence of the traditions, and more of a general sort of a non-dualistic, or, a holistic perspective of them. And then after you've kind of digested those two books, which can be very difficult to digest, you probably come into, like, especially for Advaita Vedanta, for me, it's a no-brainer. Some people don't like me mentioning this, but a great introduction to Advaita Vedanta is reading Be As You Are by Ramana Maharshi. Only because Ramana kind of embodies the non-dual teachings like no other in contemporary times. Maybe Nisargadatta Maharaj as well with I Am That. So that'll get you deep into Advaita Vedanta. Then if you want to learn about Hinduism, for example, it's important to understand yoga and Vedanta. So what I've mentioned to you about Advaita Vedanta, then if you to understand yoga, the tradition of yoga, not hatha yoga here, it's important to read Gayoung Thurston's book, The Yoga Tradition. And then if you want to understand Buddhism, then you have to read In the Buddha's Words by Bhikkhu Bodhi, which are the Nikayas, the original teachings of the Buddha. And maybe, on top of that, read some books that are a bit easier to read, like from Thich Nhat Hanh, Alan Watts, Bhikkhu Analayo, teachers like that. And then if you want to learn more about Taoism, then obviously you have to read the Tao Te Ching and the Zhuangzi. And also on top of that, to make it a bit more palatable, and even a lot of teachers talk about this, I think even Burton Watson mentioned this, who translated the original Zhuangzi. He said that reading something like The Way of Zhuangzi by Thomas Merton, even though it's not a typical translation, but Thomas had a really unique way of intuiting kind of the mind of Zhuangzi, and it's a lot easier to read than Burton Watson's real translation. And so, I mean, there's thousands of books, right? Like you could read my books, you could read Alan Watts. You know, a lot of people say Alan Watts is a good gateway drug into Eastern philosophy, and I would agree, right?
Yeah, for Taoism, for instance, the Watercourse Way is the one.
Yep.
Almost like textbook in
Yeah,
Taoism.
yeah.
And again, the Way of Zen,
The Way of Zen.
classic,
Mhm.
and the other one is the book.
Yeah. So there you have the three, right? You have
Yep.
the book for Vedanta, you have the Way of Zen for Buddhism, mainly Zen, and then you have Tao, the Watercourse Way for Taoism. And so, I mean, we could go on and on about that. Let's have a look. Keep it coming. Sorry if I miss your thing, because there's a lot of
Hold up.
what?
Hold up. Down.
Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, sorry. Go up. Go up. Go up. Up. Sangyu? I think my brother is in the.
Is that Sangyu?
Live. Yeah, I think
Sangyu,
so.
how are you? Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
What does he say?
You're doing live, sister. Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yun.
Yeah. What's to do?
What's
with
that?
your
Sangyu, is
fashion?
that you? Let us
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, we got some age. All right.
We got okay.
Let's have a look. Well, we'll do this first. Okay, we'll look at the ages. Okay. Finn, what's your guess? Jason, 41, Gayoung, 32.
Like 11 years old. Yeah.
No. Wait, we'll come back to that.
Yep.
Anita, late 30s. Travis, both in your 30s. But you both look like you're in your late 20s. Jason, if you were to guess, if I was to guess, you are 31 and Gayoung is 30. You're older than me.
Okay.
Oh, who we are just put you in. Oh my God, who we are? You're in the doghouse now. That's for sure. All right, guys. To end this suspense, I am older than Gayoung, and Gayoung is 36. I am 41. So we do look younger than probably our age, but which can be annoying. I don't know if any of you are like that you might look younger than your age and people kind of treat you like you don't know anything and stuff. But that's another story.
Yeah.
David, I bought the Effortless Living audio book, and it has been a blast. When, not if, are you going to record your other books? David, yeah, it's a great question. It's really not up to me. It's up to my publisher, because they are the one that foot the bill. It's expensive to make audiobooks, I can tell you. You have to pay the sound engineer, you have to pay for the studio. And they chose to do Effortless Living because that's been my most successful book. So obviously I want to do all of my books in audio. And I can tell you what, doing an audio book is one of the worst things you'll ever do if you have to do it. Because when you read, it's difficult to read and without making mistakes. And it's not a very natural process. Let's put it that way. And so the sound engineer and the editor have to be very, very patient. And so, yeah. John C., someday I'd like to hear your ideas about Rumi. John, that's a great video right there, my friend. Nick Star, I met you in Australia like 11 years ago.
So 2011.
Yeah, 2011 or 2010.
Sydney,
obviously, or
Melbourne,
maybe. Everyone, 57 in the room, 76 thumbs up. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Yeah, let's get it over 100.
Yes.
Enviromad. Eckhart thinks dogs have no ego, though. Yeah, I don't know so much about that.
I'm not sure if we can apply the same way of thinking to the animal. Like,
well,
hmm.
again, it's a tricky thing, right? Like, because as we know, a dog's emotional center is much more open than a human. But when survival instincts kick in, then you could say, okay, there is a sense of an ego identity there because it does defend. But that's also a physiological thing. I mean, it's a whole other discussion, and I don't think that maybe even making statements like that is even, if he does make those statements, I don't know if he does, but because like spirituality in some sense is for us to discuss, and dogs are for us to enjoy and to love and appreciate, and they have their own little thing going on. David, 7 Chakras Explained, the Ultimate Guide. Yes. So glad you watched it, my friend. Shirley, to me, meditation really helps a lot in my life. From Perth, Korean master, to Sydney's Zen Center, and Annabelle, as well in Vipassana in Blue Mountains. Beautiful. They all are different. Yes. Yeah, but same in essence. Especially with Buddhism, Shirley. You're just going through different traditions, but the relationship between Zen and Vipassana is is Theravada. So there's a very close relationship in the discipline of those traditions. Philosophies are a little different. Orbitus, she is from Tibet and has taught in Qigong and different Tai Chi styles by Grandmaster Lin Mo Jen. Later on, she studied TCM in Chengdu. Chengdu, beautiful. Sichuan. So she is Tibetan. That's awesome. Finn, I don't really get... we got a super chat in the house. The Mystic, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jersey in the house. So Finn, I don't get lonely anymore. Only on rare occasions. We are always supported by Tao, no doubt. If anything, use this feeling to go deeper and more intense into practice. That's really, that's the way it is, Finn. And that's actually how it's taught in a lot of the monasteries and ashrams, particularly with boredom and a sense of loneliness. Instead of fighting it, which we craving an aversion is part of our identity. So if the role is to dissolve that identity, then you have to go deeper into those feelings of loneliness. You want to read them?
Yeah, David, a funny fact, when I listened to your podcast on loneliness, I did not know you were together. Right.
Some people watch that podcast and actually think I'm interviewing you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why they get mad at me. They say, let her talk.
I am talking.
Yeah. Gayoung gets so mad when people write that sort of comment. Because it's stupid. There's some people out there, as you know, who lack a good sensibility about what's happening. Environment, your purpose becomes for others, yourself. Yes. Guy Brosef in the house. Good to see you. Congrats on 50K. All the best to both of you and your channel. Guy Brosef, thank you. Always good to see you. Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear us? I think we're back. The connection went out a little bit there.
I think we are back.
Yeah, we're back now.
Yeah, good.
Rebecca, good morning from Blue Ridge Mountains in USA. Rebecca, good morning.
Good morning.
She's a long-time Patreon. Good to see you.
Hi, a special hello to me. Yeah, hi. Hey, Rebecca.
Obo, when I read Jiddu Krishnamurti transcriptions into books, he amazes me with his language mastery and poetry. Then he slaps me and literally says, "You're taken by my words." Yeah, he is awesome.
Yeah.
William Patrick, hey Jason, won't be on for long, but happy to be a part of the conversation for a bit. William, thank you.
Thank you.
New York in the house. Victoria, thank you so much for the advice. This is exactly what I was looking for. This Sangyu? Is that Sangyu or not?
Yeah. My brother's saying he's watching with his girlfriend. I don't know if you guys understand what we're talking about.
Probably.
But
Probably
enjoy.
Yeah. Sangyu, when are you coming? When are you coming to
Hoju.
Hoju?
Yeah.
If you can get into the prison island, when will you come? Shirley, another great book of Taoist is called The Secret of the Golden Flower. Yes, beautiful book. I read, Shirley, did you read the Richard Wilhelm translation? Carl Jung Forward. That's the one I read a long time ago. There are other good ones. Ava Wong has a good transcription. A good transcription. Hi, amongst all the religions and chaos, this is Vinay. Where do you see the world moving forward in the future, say in 50 years from now, in terms of spirituality and spiritual order? Spiritual order. Not sure what you mean really by that, Vinay. Spirituality in terms in 50 years, if we keep going down this rabbit hole of, building our identity on the digital devices, and, we all know the circus that's going on. Tibetan lamas have a very negative, pessimistic perspective of where humanity is going. If you speak to them privately, they say it's already over. It's gone too far. So I don't want to side with that, but you can sort of understand where the Tibetan lamas are coming from. Because people are just, they don't want to, they don't want to correct their monkey mind. It's just, they just let their monkey mind go nuts. And so, especially with digital devices, right? And I know that we're on a digital device now, but like where people, you see people constantly always on Instagram and this and that. So, I mean, the monkey mind it's growing, it's thriving.
It's most like the nth degree right now that you can see that agitated state of mind.
100%. 100%. So where do I see spirituality? I think spirituality will never die away, Vinay. It's definitely going to be in nooks and crannies in the future. But again, these sort of things, like even like the digital world, and that this may die off too, right? Like everyone's so excited about it now because social media, and that's so new. A lot of people talk about social media as if it's been around for hundreds of years, and it's only been around really, I mean, to the extent that it is now, for only 10 years, like when it's readily available on our phones. So who knows how long that will last? With the way that the big tech companies are manipulating the population and this and that, I can see a lot of them actually closing down because there'll be regulations and that put on them, because in the future, of them actually manipulating division amongst humanity and this and that, governments will push back eventually, only if it makes financial sense. But they will eventually, because it'll be too hard to avoid. What's David saying in Korean?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how he can write Korean, but yeah, just guessing our age. I'm 28, you're 32.
David,
yeah.
are you Korean?
Maybe multilingual.
Rebecca, I know Jason is somewhere in his 40s guy. I'm not sure. You are Korean, so you all look very young, I think.
Thank you.
Koreans do look young. Yeah. Gayoung sometimes gets, are you 19? And so when they work out she's 36, They stay quiet.
This person I got to meet, he was 29, and we were just having a conversation, asking how old each other is, and then I said I'm 36, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were younger than me." I'm like, "What?" And he kind of changes a little bit of a
Change his tune, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It always happens, huh?
Yeah.
There's always this sort of one. So, Guy Broseph, no kids, youthful appearance. Awesome.
Probably true.
Over. Yes, guys, I was born in 1976, but I look like you guys. Awesome. Dario, so where's...
Same age.
Yeah, awesome, Dario.
Good.
Travis, I love the Man of Tao from Thomas Merton. Yes, the way of Zhuangzi. Love it.
Yeah.
The Way of Zhuangzi is beautiful. You know, I tell you a story, Travis. The first time I read The Way of Zhuangzi by Thomas, Gayoung and I were living in Bangkok. And, you know, I don't know if you've been to Bangkok, but Bangkok's a pretty chaotic city, even though it's one of my favorite cities in the world. There's a peace in the madness in Bangkok. And that's a little bit a reflection of how wonderful the Thai people are. Thai people in general are very calm, and, you know, Buddhism has really been a positive influence on a lot of Thai people's lives. And so, and then I ironically, I found out that Thomas, he died in Bangkok as I was reading the book. An electrical power line fell on him. I mean, and if you've been to Bangkok and you look up, the power lines are crazy. They're like, I mean, there's no order at all. So since the pandemic in Thailand, they've been trying to bury the power lines because there's been no people there. So there's been an opportunity for them to try and clean it up, so to speak, when they're just kind of covering over the problem. Let's have a look here. What have we got? David said, I studied at Swinburne University in Melbourne, and most of my friends were Korean and Chinese. Awesome.
Oh, wow. Mm.
So, David, are you Australian? Born in Australia? Possibly. Nick Starr didn't come back. Nick Starr, where are you? Give us a little bit more of a hint there.
Yeah, Sangyu saying he wants to come next year.
Next year? All right. Hopefully we'll be here, Sangyu.
Yeah.
We may, what's he said there?
He's going to email me.
Very
보내.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to visit us in India, Sangyu, if you don't come quick enough.
Yeah. Hurry up.
Yeah. Yes, William, this is a great question, William Patrick. I'm struggling with the amorality of Taoism coming from a Christian background. That would be a friction. It does seem that Taoism promotes morals like kindness, gratitude. Does Taoism have values? Can you help me? William, yes, they do, but the values are thought of differently. They're not thought of moral tenets that you apply to your life. They're thought of as natural intrinsic traits that you have. So if we look at also... All right. Am I back? Yes. All right. I'm back. So, William, so if we look at Taoism and also the teachings of Mencius is kind of thought of as he is a Confucian, but when you read the Mengzi by Mencius, he is far more Taoist than Buddhist. And you will gather this, and I highly recommend anyone to read the Mengzi. And so the thing is that both Lao Tzu and Mencius are coming from the place of that humans are fundamentally good. And so intrinsic within our nature is kindness, humility, empathy, compassion, forgiveness. And what happens as we live, then the socialization process begins. And this is what actually warps our nature. This is the fundamentals of Taoism. So, William, you are right to be confused because Christianity comes from the Confucian perspective of that we are beasts from birth. So the idea of original sin, right, in Christianity. And so where Taoism and also Buddhism and Advaita Vedanta flip the script and they say, wait up. What does society and culture have? I mean, how come they get off scot-free from how people end up being, right? We all know what we like when we were children. We've seen children playing around. There's no prejudice. They're all having a great time. But then as they get older, they get into 10, 11, and 12, and then they're a teenager, and then they're opinionated, and then, they're arguing with their parents, and then, we know where it goes from there. So Taoism have values, but it's not that they're values that you acquire from a religion. It's that you are already fundamentally good. And once you understand and you begin to dissolve your identity and your ego, then those qualities begin to be amplified as when you were a kid. This is why the gurus and the teachers say that you need to have a childlike mind. What they're talking about is you need to have that childlike innocence that is not, conditioned with beliefs and biases that skew your perception. So Celeb 99, what's it say?
Thanks for the podcast. I've been watching for a few months. It helps me understand the essence of myself that I've never been able to put into words. Thank you. That's good.
Awesome. Finn, thank you. First, who we are. What do you believe about life after death? Because we follow Eastern traditions, it depends on if you call it belief or sort of a knowing, is that, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And that's also the first law of thermodynamics, which correlates also to Eastern spirituality when we talk about the cycle of samsara. And so we have a few videos also. Well, we have a podcast, I think, on reincarnation.
Yep.
Early in the piece. And I have a bunch of videos on reincarnation that you could look at, which goes into the idea of samsara and the wheel of samsara framework. So about the jiva, about how if you don't sort of begin to work on your identity and begin to dissolve it, that's actually what comes back life after life, because it's built on duality. It's not built on non-duality. Your essence is Atman, is the original face in Zen. And so that is eternal and untouched. So, and this is why in the Mandukya Upanishad, Gaudapada says, and the Kataka says that you were never born and you will never die. And so that is confusing for people, because what the hell do you mean? I was born and I will die. This will.
I think the concept of life and death that comes with the belief of the physical body and consciousness. We talked about this actually earlier today. How is consciousness? Does consciousness exist only within the physical body, or is it not? So I think if life and death, if we just clearly say that there is death and there is life, that means we isolate the consciousness only exists within the physical form, I think. So, but in Buddhism, it clearly explains that is not true actually at all, because consciousness self activates itself, so it exists without physical form. So that life after death is as long as you mentioned, that not as long as there is consciousness, so the energy doesn't just disappear. So that the consciousness still live on whichever way it would be.
Yeah, it's non-local. It's not like it's located in the brain. And that's what Gayoung and I were talking about earlier today, later in the afternoon, was that, like Guy said, like this idea in Western science is that consciousness is located in the brain, but the observer can't be found in the brain. And so this is why in Eastern spirituality, when you begin to disintegrate your identity, you begin to have an expanded sense of consciousness, because the nature of consciousness is everywhere. consciousness is not localized in this body. Now, that doesn't mean that you have a sense of your awareness goes out of your body and you go everywhere. It's a feeling, it's a sense that you have. When you begin to disintegrate your identity, then your consciousness begins to expand, and then that is identical to the process of the physical body dying. Because once the physical body dies, it disintegrates. Your identity definitely disintegrates, and then you merge with what would be called, in Tibetan Buddhism, is the Bardo plane. And then that really depends. Then after that, the work that you've done on your jiva, is the energy strong? If that energy is strong, you've been out there, you're a go-getter, and you've done no internal inquiry, and you've been a prick your whole life, then there's a good chance that you're going to get another turn on the circus, So we can go on about that, but yeah. And it's funny because Insalubris mentions this, and we were talking about.
Yes. What are your opinions about Osho's work? Yeah, we had a good laugh as we were talking about Osho. He's such a brilliant man and such a humorous man. Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can say about Osho, right? Like the thing is that, do we agree with the whole what happened in Oregon? Of course not. I mean, like, it was a complete circus. And was he clean of any blame? Of course not. He must have had his hands dirty. It was a circus, right? So does that discount him as a great teacher? Not at all. He's a human, and he had male appetites. He obviously liked women and so forth and so on. Does that make him a bad guy? No. Was he clever in trying to he wasn't as clever in trying to cover that up, because all that came out. But the thing is that you still can learn a lot from Osho. Like, there's a lot of knowledge that he had, and in some sense he was a genius, the way that he spoke and everything like that. And he could address taboo topics, even political topics, and make it humorous. So in that, half of the time he was riffing, and it was like a comedy skit. But so I don't have anything really negative to say about Osho, but what it does illustrate in a negative sense is the problems and the pitfalls that can happen when you have a lot of money involved with gurus and everything like this, and that sort of thing grows around it. And he was one of the real first ones that became massive with that. And see, even when we talk about Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi, right? Ramana didn't have a lot of people around him. Only a few British that knew him, and the local Indians in the area, Paul Brunton and people like this that knew of Bhagwan. And so it was really much more genuine. And again, it was the late 1800s and the first half of the 1900s. So, in this day and age, there's a lot of money getting thrown around. And I know Osho was in his 70s and 80s, but, it's not so long ago. Obo, in a post-apocalyptic setting, say 1,000 years after cataclysm, would the comprehension of Tao merge before that of the Hindu people? I don't really know, because actually the concept of Tao and Brahman are kind of similar, Obo. So that, and again, you kind of, it's difficult to say which culture came up with. Well, not came up with, but had the realization of that ultimate reality first. So a lot of people would probably say India, because they think that India is, a far older civilization than a lot of places on the planet. And there's maybe some truth to that, but we don't know categorically. So, and I don't really think it matters really if if the concept emerged in somewhere else before other people. I mean, I don't really think that matters. Glenn, hello from Ireland. Glenn, welcome. Charles, good morning from the Acadian Forest. Yeah. Charles is always here. Awesome. Having a morning coffee this time, Charles. Nice. Usually it's nighttime. I go.
I go. I go.
Shirley, yes. Richard Wilhelm, thank you. Let's have a look. What do we got? You want to read Rebecca's?
Yeah, Rebecca, thank you both for doing the work you do and taking the time and effort to help the world through Eastern spirituality. You truly know your stuff and explain it in a very clear and simple way. Thank you. Thank you.
That sort of comment means a lot, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I guess we're too boring, Rebecca. We don't jazz it up, yeah?
Yeah, it's just that only I guess gives us more motivation to keep doing what we do and keep studying what we study. And yes.
Wayne AC. Wayne, you've been a long time on Facebook, Wayne, if I recollect. Hello from Colorado, soon to move to the Philippines when it opens. Awesome. Enjoy your thoughts and peaceful philosophy. Thank you, Wayne. I'm a believer in universal consciousness. The man. Yes. Sleb, world peace, love it. Hari Priyara, have you read Bede Griffin's Swami Dayananda? No, I haven't. Swami Dayananda, yeah. I think you're talking about Swami Dayananda. He's no longer with us, but he was a great teacher of Vedanta. Was located in Rishikesh. Swami Appanananda learned under him for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Emma, since finding podcasts like yours and Alan Watts and reading the spiritual books, I've noticed by my
migraines have got better. Do you have an opinion on these things, guys? Grateful for what you're doing. Thank you. Definitely, I think there's studying Eastern spirituality and practicing meditation regular basis definitely helps. A lot of reducing the stress and depression and as you mentioned, migraine as well, because scientifically and biologically proven that our neural network can rewind itself as we meditate more and also downregulate the prefrontal cortex, which we use a lot when we think a lot and analyze and things like that, which is pretty much part of everyday life now. So that's why we go through a lot of anxieties and stresses and so on. So definitely there's benefits. And also, I think there are a lot of places around the world they do use a meditation technique to help them the depression and stress and things like that as well. So
yeah, 100%. Just getting into spirituality, and if reading the books or listening even to our podcast brings you some sort of peace and equanimity, that's going to have an energetic effect on your migraines. I mean, that may be sounds very superficial, but that's a fact of the matter. A lot of people who have migraines is usually from a lot of tension, retained tension for long periods of time, coming from stress and anxiety. And I don't know if a lot of people have had migraines out there. I have a long time in the past, but they're not good to live with, that's for sure. But the more you live a peaceful lifestyle, you notice a lot of these things downregulate. But if you go to your doctor and you mention it, they just think they think you're crazy. Obo, my monkey mind wants to see the new Matrix movie. Yeah. I don't even know if it'll be that good, to be honest with you. Sometimes you got to let sleeping dogs lie, I think. Sue Mosley. Sue, in the house, Sue.
Hello, Sue.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Now, how did you two meet each other, if you don't mind sharing your story?
Yeah, we were working at the same place. So In Sydney, actually.
Mm.
Gayoung. I had been working there for a few more years before Guy showed up, and then
Yeah, just pretty normal way of meeting people, isn't it? Like at
well,
work.
yeah. Well, I came over to
Yeah.
ask you,
Ah,
Lynette.
yeah.
So
I was a shy little girl. I believe I still am.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went over, asked her name, and the rest is history.
Mm.
Orbitus Light, do you have, I don't know, spiritual take on global warming? I think I spoke about this before. I have a video on this Chinese medical theory and global warming. It's an older video. I highly recommend you to check it out, Orbitus. It's not to say that I fully believe that theory, but it's kind of a Chinese medical theory on global warming. It's to do with yin and yang. So we live in a yin deficient world, essentially. So, because we're so active, the world's heating up. There's a lot more to it than that, right? Like I'm giving you a very generic summary of that, but yeah, there's a lot more to it. But I highly recommend you go and read that book. Read that book. Watch that video. Awesome. 71 in the room. Make sure you give. We got 100 thumbs up. Let's get it to 200.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Let's try and get to 200. That'll be fun. As long as you guys are here, we'll keep partying. What's in Sublubris, Ditaram, at least in India, I think spirituality has recently gotten a boost, though, probably because of the virus, but I also attribute it to Sadhguru's rise. The guy seems to have succeeded in his mission, at least somewhat succeeded. In Sublubris, spirituality is not, it didn't need Sadhguru to keep spirituality alive in India. India is thriving with spirituality. It's always been. And so it's not like it's anything new. So, I mean, Sadhguru, it helps. I mean, a lot of people don't like Sadhguru too. A lot of people do like him. A lot of people don't like him. But if you go to India, it's every street corner there's a puja. Every street corner there's a shrine, and this is just the way it is. Yeah, and so it's always been like that for thousands of years. So it's not like that. India was on life support with spirituality. The world, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Yeah, the world's a completely different story. So, India's not in no need of a boost in spirituality. It's like one thing that Sadhguru said that I actually liked was that when you get off the plane and you go to India, it's like you feel it when you touch down in India. There's something about India. And he kind of uses the forest as an analogy. You're kind of in a spiritual wilderness. Whereas when you go to some countries, other countries, everything's perfectly manicured, right? But India is like this thriving forest. And so that's how I feel also when I'm in India. So, everyone does. Everyone feels like that when they're in India. So, Stephen Saab, holy crap, just rolled out of bed and look what I found. Stephen, you're always a bit late, yeah? What a great way to start the day here in Colorado. Stephen, awesome, man. I know that you always usually come to the podcast a bit late, yeah? So, but awesome, man. Good to see you there. All right. What have we got? John C., there's a couple of Taoist churches in California. Do they teach accurate teachings of the Tao? I don't really know much about them, John. Taoist churches, I mean, that sounds a bit strange to me, to be honest. Again, there's what we would call in China religious Taoism, and there's Taoism, right? So religious Taoism is more of the more of the formal mixed with Chinese folk religion. And so a lot of those Taoist churches that you see are sometimes Chinese folk religion mixed with Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi's teaching. It's not your typical Taoism that is Taoism, if that makes any sense, right? So in China, Taoism is often in its truest form kept alive in temples and hermitages up in the mountains and places such as there's places in Sichuan and in around Mount Tai and these sorts of areas, and in Udangshan, where you see traditional Taoism kept alive, mixed with a lot of BS Taoism to be fair. So all right. Thomas Rutledge, there's a wonderful synergy between you and Alan Watts. Thank you, Thomas. I always get what do you say?
Compliment?
Yeah, compliment about me and Alan, like being similar. So I don't really know how to take that half the time, because I thought Alan was brilliant and I'm just me. So Cree Bigiosala. Some argue that envy is part of human nature. What would Taoist approach be to this? No, it wouldn't be part of. Envy comes with the socialization. So where you begin to have more refined concepts in your mind of what people have and what you want, as opposed to just naturally having what you already have, right? So, and actually the 12th chapter of the Tao Te Ching that we talk about tomorrow, that will be out, we actually speak a bit about that, between the desires of the I, which are those artificial desires that socialization creates, as opposed to the desires of the belly, which are the natural basic needs that we have, and that we kind of need, like food, clothing, and shelter, and so forth. So envy and lust and all of this is built in from indoctrination and from socialization and concepts such as fame, wealth, a scarcity mindset, right? Not that you because the world teaches you that you don't belong, right? You don't belong. So you ought to go out and get the world. But Taoism has a completely different approach. You do belong. You don't need to go out and get the world, so to speak. Michael Gerard, my problem with Christianity is the idea that it wants to convert the world. That and the competition between the various denominations within the Christian religion. That's the main problem most people have, Michael, is this doctrinal privilege in Christianity and Islam. A lot of people, and that's most people's pet peeve with those traditions, because what they do is they undermine other cultures and other traditions based on their doctrinal privilege. And so, as you know, with Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism, there's no sense of conversion. There's nothing in the literature that says that there are believers and non-believers, and so there is nothing to go out and you don't need to go out and convert. There was a Hindu political man a few decades ago, Sri Ram Surup, and he spoke about how, and he's pretty on point about this, about how actually the Quran and the Bible are actually political doctrines. When you actually study them in their essence, they're political doctrines, and so that's why they're used to influence other places in the world. And it's more about demographic swamping than it is about spirituality. And that's really the crux of the matter. A lot of people get mad about that because they might be Christian or Muslim. But sometimes you got to call a spade, And so the idea of Swami Vivekananda's idea of the interfaith harmony of all religions doesn't mean radical universalism. It means an acceptance and an appreciation for every other religion, minus the conversion mentality. So Vivekananda wasn't saying that all religions are the same, even though some people think that, right? But they're not the same. You study, when you study the Shastras and you study Taoism and the Nikayas of Buddhism, you understand that this concept of the monarchical version of God in the Abrahamic faiths is nowhere in Eastern philosophy. It's actually a lower concept, the concept of Tao and Brahman. Oh, what have we got here? Keep it coming, people. There's a lot. We're kind of missing some here. Yeah, Michael says, I prefer philosophical Taoism over religious Taoism, 100%. Philosophical Taoism is what Taoism is, Michael. It's the original Taoism. And again, religious Taoism is not real Taoism. And I mean, that's something that's controversial to say, but it's Chinese folk religion. A lot of Taoist teachers in China actually know that and speak about that openly. I wrote about that actually in Effortless Living for those who read my book. Wow. There's a lot. What about Insalubris there?
I've been listening to Osho lately, mostly his Hindi discourses. And I agree with you, the guy is an absolute genius. Sometimes he does manipulate facts to fit his rhetoric, but largely I respect him. He had such ability to elaborate things and put into words, and he was very well read. Yes. So I think he was a lot more classical Zhuangzian.
He's like Zhuangzi, wasn't he?
Really, like he had no put on, and he was himself.
He was politically incorrect.
Yeah, and there is a video.
Just what we need in the world these days. Yeah. Not everyone trying to move within a restricted discourse. And hopefully none of you are doing that. The world is, especially liberal academia, the people who promote political correctness are trying to make us move within these constrained spheres. And that really inhibits spirituality and art and the humanities in general. So someone like Osho just could care less. He doesn't care less what they say. Who is they? Usually they are the minority. They're just allowed to take up the microphone, right? So AJS, hello Jason, congrats on everything. So happy for you. Thank you, AJS. Awesome. All right, we're missing a lot, I think. William, thank you for answering. I'm still learning. Awesome, William. So how would you look to
respond to someone?
Well, I've got a lot of videos on that, actually, to solve the injustices of the world. How would I respond to someone? I wouldn't respond to them at all. I mean, again, because if you're working on a deeper spiritual level, you have to expose your own personal agenda. So, yes, there are injustices of the world, but injustices are the result of those who have personal agendas. So the whole perspective of Taoism is when are we going to stop this game of superimposing our own personal agenda on the world? Now, if we all don't superimpose our own personal agenda of the world, injustices are resolved immediately. But that requires every individual to become contemplative and understand the true nature of their mind, and not even understand the true nature of their mind, but at least exploring their own nature. And so that's where Eastern philosophy stands with social justice warriors and this and that, is because they usually have their own sense of justice and their own worldview that they want to superimpose on other people that conflicts with other people's perspective. And that's why amorality is the way of Taoism, because in the end of the day, whose morality is the best? The Christian morality, the Muslim morality, the woke morality, you know. And so Eastern spirituality exposes how stupid all of their moralities are. And so that's, you know, where the philosophies sit. They sit in some sense in the corner, like having a bit of a laugh, you know. This is why Zhuangzi constantly poked fun in the Zhuangzi text at Confucius, because Confucius was this high and mighty pious individual who wouldn't look out of place with the woke ideologues of today. And he has his own perspective of how the world should be, so forth and so on, right? So what we need is less people like that and more of a pulling back. And then people say, well, what about the companies? And it's that then you begin to disengage from them. You begin to disengage from the corporations. They don't monitor you anymore, right? So especially Taoism, Lao Tzu, he represents a complete rejection of social convention. So, and that's difficult for a lot of people to understand when they get into Taoism. They think Taoism is just some sort of thing where, oh man, go with the flow, dude, chilling. But it's a complete rejection of pop culture and socialization. And that's a fact of the matter that some people just have to live with.
I think when we react to these social injustice, which, as you said, they do exist, but if you do react in certain way, that is also kind of indicates somewhat the beginning of the journey as well, I think. Yeah. And if you're a bit more mature on the path, that you kind of know that not even worth reacting to actually in the end. Yeah. So actually in the end, your presence and your presence itself, let that speaks for itself, I think. Yeah. And that will just come through with your silence, actually.
And William, whose injustice are you talking about? Whose wars are you talking about? I'm not having a crack at you here. I'm just saying because I get a lot of these questions, particularly from Americans. And so Americans will say, what about this and what about that? And it's like, but are you concerned about the problems in Bangladesh? Are you concerned about the problems in Namibia, in Chad? And they say, why would I? And so why would a person in Chad have to be concerned about the problems in America if you're not concerned about the problems in Chad? Because there's likely more problems in Chad than there are in the US. But because the US control the media space, we don't see the problems in Bangladesh or Myanmar or Mongolia in places like this, right? So the West hogs the limelight in general of injustice, but we don't see what's actually really happening on the ground in other places. And Gayoung and I have been in these countries and we know what's going on the ground. You know, we've seen injustice firsthand, but no one reports it. It's not clickbaity enough, you know. But if it happens in the States, oh man, that's money. That's money in the bank. So whose injustice should we begin with? And so this is where you really pull the rug from underneath people's feet. So okay, I've probably gone up too far. Keep the questions coming, people. Awesome. We're just we're trying to monitor reading where we're at. 70 in the room, 71 in the room, 112 thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't. Let's get to 200.
Yes.
Just for fun. Okay, we'll skip some of those. There's too many. I can't remember where we're at. Leanne, happy 50K. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for being here. Charles, I'm watching the leaves change colors. It's like slow motion fireworks show.
Is it?
I don't know. In which relation? Maybe I said something earlier. Yeah. Mark Ellison, good afternoon from Germany. Germany in the house.
Afternoon.
Love it. All right, we've reached 100. Thank you, David.
Yes.
Finn, simple and unjazzed is very good. Much more helpful for a peaceful mind which is in essence of the past. Thank you, Finn. Appreciate it. We're just us, don't put it on the show. Do what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Obo, thank you for your insightful answers, especially to my questions. Obo, thank you. Always appreciate seeing you, my friend. David, loving asking the author after effortless living, which of your books do you recommend? After effortless living. What would you say?
No, all-time favorite. Enlightenment now.
Yeah.
Yes, Enlightenment now. The second.
That was the second book.
Second book. Yes.
Third book, technically.
Third book, technically, but me personally, I really like some meaty books, really strictly philosophy based, and this book definitely goes into the philosophy of Eastern spirituality, as well as it nutted out a lot of a Christian idea, the hierarchical way of thinking, and that is to explain why modern people in general, I wouldn't say Westerners, because nowadays Asians also think just like the Western way. So, but modern people why we think way we do, such a analytical and categorical way of thinking, and why we fell into that kind of trap. And in this book explains that. Monarchical view of the universe, superficial initiation into the future. Yeah. So really, this is my.
That's your favorite,
yeah, Enlightenment now.
Yes. Backstory on that one was Gayoung and I were living in a little shack in Sarapi, just outside of Chiang Mai in Thailand, in 2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I wrote Enlightenment Now, and it came out in 2016. Usually with my publisher, it comes out a couple of years later, which is frustrating. But anyway, yeah. So if you haven't read it,
but fasting the mind is really good too.
Yeah, you like fasting the mind too.
Yeah, really like it. Fasting the mind is strictly Taoist philosophy, especially the Zhuangzian and the Zen. Yes.
And Vipassana.
Spiritual exercise for psyche detox.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I really love the book cover too.
Dan Stewart.
Yeah.
If you're there, Dan.
Yeah.
Give us a shout out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg Shrabala, love your videos. So eye-opening. I study yoga and meditate, and Taoism speaks to me. I'm seeking Sangha, and I live in Iowa, and am going to embark on Zen. Is it truly a mix of Taoism and Buddhism? Yes, but it's obviously it's Buddhism. So Chan, which is Chinese Chan, which is Zen in Japan, is influenced by Taoism, because when Buddhism came to China, Taoism was one of the main traditions. And so, yes, it is a mix. But what I will say is that Zen, its discipline is very strict. This is good, don't get me wrong. This is very beneficial. And that's not to say that Taoism discipline isn't very strict, but the way of the Tao, or living the Tao, I should say, or living Wu Wei, you kind of live without sort of boundaries and this and that, even though it is important to still have a spiritual practice, of course. But in essence, Zen is a mixture of Taoism and Buddhism. It's just the way that Buddhism migrated to China, when it migrated to China. So. Let's have a look. Emma, great answer, guys. Thanks. Everything you said makes perfect sense. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Travis, I've recently discovered the Vedanta Society. Oh, big trouble. Swami Sarvapriyananda lectures are great. He's a gun.
Yeah.
He's a gun.
He's pretty up there.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Swamiji's, he's probably one of the best guys you could listen to in the modern times. And for all of you who probably have not heard, I highly recommend there's a talk by Swami Sarvapriyananda from 4 years ago. 4 years ago, maybe. It's called Birthless, Deathless. Anyway, you can type in Birthless, Deathless, and Swami Sarvapriyananda, and this lecture is just going to knock your socks off. It's about the Mandukya Upanishad Kataka, and you'll be left after that speechless. And like the oration of Swamiji, like his intellect, it's second to none, you know. And a lot of people say, you know, there's a lot of new ages out there go, oh, he's too intellectual. And it's like, just because you're not as smart as this guy doesn't mean you have to tear him down. I mean, like, sometimes you got to give kudos, you know, you got to give kudos to someone who's a bit smarter. That's actually how the guru-disciple relationship is supposed to be. But New Age spirituality comes with this mentality that they're already enlightened. And so, I don't want to start you up, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, so you know, like when you're involved in traditional Eastern spirituality, traditional, then you actually value someone who can deliver the knowledge, especially in a satsang setting, in a very clear manner, where people can learn and evolve, and in some sense, and you know, the New Ages will say, "Oh, but words aren't necessary." It's that, yeah, of course, artificial linguistic framework is still a sense of conditioning, but the words guide us inward. You know why? Because we're humans and we're smart, we're intelligent, we're not, you know, we're not docile creatures, you know.
There's what the saying by Einstein: if you're not able to say what you know, you don't really know in it, right? Like, you should be able to elaborate what you know, then you truly know in it, and you allow other people to understand what you're trying to say.
Drop the mic and leave the building.
Yeah, just yeah.
But it's true, right?
Yeah.
If you can't verbalize it, you don't
Yeah.
really know it,
Mm.
right? And that's what makes a teacher. A teacher is someone who can verbalize probably some sort of intuition you've had, or this and that, and they can do it, and for you, right? And so that's the role of a teacher. And Swami Sarvapriyananda is probably one of the best in the world at it, and he's highly underrated. So if you're in America and you get a chance, go to New York City and go to the Vedanta Society, which was the original Vedanta Society. It's the same one that was created, that was opened by Swami Vivekananda. So there's a whole lineage there.
Yeah. Paramahansa.
Yeah.
Yogananda.
Finn, the Western thing is slowly entering India and having its effects. So it's important people don't fall into the hole, I guess. But on the whole, all is okay. Finn, is true. Look, if you've been to India, the Western thing's not really that strong. Indians are still Indians. I can tell you that, right? What you see on YouTube with the Mumbai intelligentsia, you know, these are just the richer, more wealthy Indians that you see that are more Marxist and this and that, right? But they are the minority. When you go to India, you got to remember there's 1.3 billion people, and most of them aren't really wealthy, and they live in the rural areas. So when you go to the rural areas, every day there's 5 pujas a day. It's on fire. And, you know, I just wish Gayoung and I could take you to somewhere like Tiruvannamalai, where it's like thriving, you know.
Yes.
Every moment. They're doing pujas just to buy land. Like Gayoung and I were invited to they were doing a puja. They just bought the land, and so so it's every moment. Yeah, every moment. Everything is Shiva in those places, right? And so even when you go into the north and you go into more of the Vaishnava areas, like, it's important for a Hindu to do the chardam. So you go to Badrinath and you go to these sorts of places from Haridwar and Kedarnath and all of these important places. And I mean, a lot of maybe some of you think that India is on a decline because the liberal media, because they hate Hinduism, they are trying because they're constantly trying to tear India down because they don't agree with India's form of politics. And obviously because like companies like CNN and that have gone full woke and won't accept that there's actually different beliefs in the world, then they constantly tear anyone down who doesn't really believe in the way that they think. So Hinduism then is related to being right wing and all of these stupid things. It's like Hinduism is just Hinduism, you idiots, And so, and then they have the balls to have a conference at a university. This is liberal academia for you, called Dismantling Hindutva, which was only a couple of months ago. So dismantling Hinduism, right? Who are they to talk about Hinduism like that? Who makes them the arbiter of truth, right? And so that's the world that we're living in at the moment. So I wouldn't listen to any of those stupid news networks when they report about India. Gayoung and I have lived in India for many years, and we know how India is. And so, I wouldn't listen to any of those immature news networks. William Patrick, I always get this question, William. Any thoughts on Wim Hof, breathing meditation? Yeah, I like Wim. I don't practice Tummo breathing. Tummo breathing is a Tibetan Buddhist breathing meditation, which Wim learned, which allows him obviously to remain in extremely cold temperatures, which is amazing. But I don't know. I don't practice that personally. So our friend Ben Stewart, those who know Ben became friends with Wim, interviewed him a few times. Wim's Dutch, I think. And our friend's wife's Dutch. So Marie, hello. Have you talked about the topic of eating food in your previous videos? If yes, I'll look for it. And if not, I would be very interested in learning more about mindful eating, diets, etc. Awesome. We spoke about diet and that a bit, I guess. Actually, in my book, Emotional Intuition for Peak Performance, if you haven't read that, which I don't have on me here, that doesn't matter. I speak about dietary things and that, and also mindful eating. Mindful eating is also a very important spiritual practice, especially if you're in a monastery and this and that. And mindful eating is a very simple practice, though, too, isn't it? Like you're mindful of what you eat, and you don't do anything until you've thoroughly chewed your food and swallowed. Then you can get your next spoonful.
Yes.
So it can be a very slow process.
Yeah. It's kind of trained to eat a little bit slower than usual speed, isn't it? Yeah. Nowadays, we do everything too quick.
Yeah.
So
shovel it in.
Yeah, and for diet wise, I really would like to recommend Ayurvedic diet, which is very sattvic, is good for the mind. Yeah.
Again, if you're eating with a monk, or and you might be there for hours. You wait for the monk to finish their food, and it's part of the practice. Like, does it mean you're going to be mindfully eating all the time? There's going to be times that you're not gonna, right? You're going to be late for a plane, and you need to just, I don't know, have a bar or something like that, and just quickly shovel it in. And there are situations like going to be like that, right? But in general, you can practice mindful eating easy enough.
Yeah. It's all about being at the present moment.
Yeah.
So that,
100%. Grizzly Adams, congrats. Grizzly, good to see you on 50,000. Eastern religion is growing around the world, and we need a channel like this. Grizzly, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot. Insalubris, I understand what you're saying, but most people that do the pujas and rituals don't actually understand the deeper philosophy behind it, especially the younger generation. A lot of us don't even remember the last time we went to a temple, and the people who do mostly go to ask God for for cars and jobs. And also Guru, he is not the only one, has helped to open the doors, deeper inquiry, at least for people like me, though. Insalubris, how old are you? if you don't mind me asking? And you're the one that lives in. I always forget the name of the temple. Sorry, my friend. You live close by. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But there's certain parts of India that's not a lot like that. And I think a lot of it's to do with also social media too, right? Social media is having such a negative effect in a lot of places in the world. Negative and positive, right? There's two ways to look at it. We can talk together. This is positive. Gayoung and I get a lot out of this. And hopefully you do as well. But there's a lot of other negative things about it, like distraction, as that person mentioned before, envy, comparison. You're constantly comparing, misinformation, fake news. There's all of these things that people get swept up by.
And what I personally really don't like about this online world is it really shortens your attention span. That's what I really don't like. That's why I really keep a distance from it.
You're a ghost on social media, that's for
I'm
sure.
a ghost, and we don't have a working smartphone.
No. Oh man, thank God. Thank God.
Yep.
We've never had a working smartphone.
No.
We got you a tablet.
Yeah.
So, and you guys will probably laugh. Gayoung's got a tablet that she reads on, and I learned actually how to do an Instagram story only about a month ago. A lot of people will be like, "Man, he's a bloody dinosaur, this guy." Didn't know anything. I mean, I've seen stories, right? I have friends that do Instagram stories, other teachers and that. And so I think, how do they do that? So
good. That's good.
Jad Lee, how do we free ourselves from all addictions? And what is the right action to take any moment when we are free? This is a difficult one. Addictions are always different, Jad, because you've got two sort of separate two types of different addiction in general, chemical addictions and behavioral addictions. So, but the addiction and the stimulus of the addiction is the same for both. But the difference is the chemical addiction is stronger, obviously, because chemical addiction, you develop a physical dependency on maybe a drug or something like this. Behavioral addictions can be the same. You see this with smartphones, like what we were just talking about. A behavioral addiction can be, in some sense, as bad because it can go unnoticed. You don't even know it's an addiction, right? So how to work on that? There's always, all you can give is the most generic advice is becoming more observant of yourself, pinpointing what is building this habit of the addiction and starting to weed those things out of your life. Is it a smartphone habit, for example? Then, well, it's time to get rid of all those apps off your phone. It's time to set times for looking at social media on the internet and this and that. The only way that I can write books and this and that is because there's only certain periods of time I can check emails and social media comments and this and that. If I'm on there all day, Jack is going to get done all day. So, and Gayoung and I usually spend a lot of time together away because we don't have a working smartphone. So away from that sort of stuff, right? So you have to be really honest. Like, because a lot of people that say that they want to improve or get rid of an addiction, they're not really sincere, right? So my only relation to this is I used to smoke cigarettes when I was really young. So I smoked cigarettes up until I was about 26 years old. And it's a terrible habit, right? It's a crappy habit. And I never really liked it because it wastes a lot of money. And I wasn't really a heavy smoker. It was just something that I would do and I was single for all that time, right? So I was just living on my own, and it was just something that I would do to kind of chill on my own. And then once I was really sincere, then I knocked it on the head. There was like 4 or 5 years there. I was sincere in air quotes, but really I just wanted to keep smoking. You know what I mean? So you have to really be earnest about it, and you really have to pull the pin. So. Damien,
Oh, Damien, thank you.
thank you, my friend. Awesome. Tree Jabas Salah, thanks for the answer. That's why I get surprised when sophisticated writers talk about it as being a part of human nature, completely disregarding the role of social cultural indoctrination. Yes. Yes. I think a lot of people try to defend society and culture more than they actually are aware of. Actually, they're doing it unconsciously. And what I like about the Eastern traditions is they kind of put those traditions on the furnace. They put society and culture on the furnace, and they say, "Wait up, where are you going? You're not going anywhere. We got to examine you and your effect on humanity." Meow, just don't hurt people. Period. Simple, very simple, I guess. Miss Zen, Annie, I just arrived. I wanted to congratulate you on your 50,000 subscribers. I am really happy for you. Miss Zen, thank you.
Thank you.
And I did see your review on Amazon, Miss Zen, Annie. If I think that if I remember correctly. What do we got here? What do we got? Shubdam. Hello, madam.
Hello, Shubham.
Awesome. Just having a look, people getting through.
Jara, Joko, congratulations, both of you. I love you both. Please don't forget me. We won't.
Yeah, we won't. Love you too, my friend. Jara, we answered that question just a little bit earlier. So on the replay, you could probably go back and see. William, good stuff. I agree. Now it's time to do a mental purge. Let me answer whose injustice. How about the injustice that is directly around you and your community? By the way, not a social justice warrior. Well, again, like William, you have to also, a part of Taoism is also acting immediately and appropriately to each and every situation too, right? So whatever is necessary in some sense, you will do, but you'll do it as, especially, the idea is you will do it as Arjuna took his actions in the Bhagavad Gita, right? So that's the kind of the ideal that we are sort of striving for in Eastern spirituality. So you act not for the benefit of yourself, but in some sense, and not to say also for the benefit of others as well. It's also just because it's what has to be done, right? So if you see the dishes there and you're waiting for your wife to do the dishes, but you should just be doing the dishes. You just and that's what Dharma is, right? Dharma is allowing sort of this natural virtue to run its course. So the thing is that often the case that there's not a lot of injustice in your immediate environment, but for some people there is, right? So, and part of Wu Wei is acting immediately and appropriately to each and every situation too. So, but in saying that, it gets a tricky territory because can you act, as they say in Zen Buddhism, can you act with prajna intuition? Prajna is non-dual wisdom or non-dual thinking. Now that's a very difficult place to get to, right? Can you act from that place? And a lot of people can't. A lot of people act because they just think something's wrong according to their own perspective of how they think it should be. They don't have prajna intuition. And so, which takes, a while in some sense to develop. And that develops again when we disintegrate our identity. So Huawei 2020, hello. I was watching and always waiting for the next post. I love you both. Good luck. All the best. Thank you. Is that one the red before?
No.
No.
It's not.
What's Madeline say? Madalena?
Yeah, Medalina. Yeah. Hey there, you two beautiful beings. Congrats and thank you for sharing of yourself so generously with the world. Love and peace. Thank you, Madalena. Mm.
Paige, thank you. Ah, Mike in the house. Bietla.
Hello.
Hi, Mike. North Carolina in the house
Yeah.
representing. What time is it there, Mike? Good to see you. I got you on a Saturday. So hopefully you're not off to university. Rebecca, I so sad I have to sign off. My mum was standing there watching you guys. No better introduction for her, I think. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for being.
Thank you for being with us. Yes.
Finn, brilliant. Thank you, Finn. You want to answer or not?
Yeah, Travis. Yeah, what instrument do you play? I play violin. Do you perform publicly? I used to, not so much anymore. Yeah, I used to play for an orchestra, but yeah, at the moment, not. But just do privately, teaching and playing for Jason while he writes, and maybe more so making some noise.
I don't. I'm just so used to listening to Gayoung practice.
Right now, I mean, the violin is the only instrument that I have now. I play violin. I play piano as well. I play some Korean traditional instruments as well.
Gayoung.
Gayoung, yes.
So you guys can have a look at that instrument if you want to have a look.
Yep.
Rusty Hands, women's Danish. Sorry about that.
Right.
My background is Danish too, Rusty. My grandmother was Danish. Damien, happy 50th. Happy 50K. Damien, 50. Yeah. Congrats. Thank you both for your lovely work. It's been so helpful on my own journey. Have you heard of Muji's teachings? I've been following his guided meditations. Amazing. Yes, Damien. Yes, we've known Muji for a long time. So we've been to his satsangs. Mike in the house dropping bombs. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
You're the man.
Thank you.
We love you too, brother. Thank you. Dropping massive ducats. So yeah, Damien, definitely. Gayoung and I, we've known Muji for a long time. Probably not knowing personally, but you know, we've been in satsang with him in Tiruvannamalai back when it was really even more, from our opinion, really more genuine, because there wasn't a lot of the bells and whistles around. Not saying that that's had any sort of negative effect on Muji, because I don't know him personally, but I always recommend that there's Muji's channel, right? But I always tell people, go to a channel called Satsang with Muji. If you type in Satsang with Muji channel, you'll see all of these older satsangs with all of this grainy footage from like 2008, 2009, 2010, and 11, when we were like in the area back in that day. So, and it was so quiet, there's not many, not as massive as what it is now, you could say. So, and it was interesting because back in those days, because he would go to a place like Tiruvannamalai, there's more people who were really sincere about Advaita Vedanta, where I kind of find in Europe a little bit with the teachings, people are there more for, not really for that tradition. They're kind of for, I don't really know what they're into in some sense a little bit, but that's been our experiences really, right? So
yeah.
There's a beautiful Sadhu lake, remember, back in Tiruvannamalai, and there was like a spontaneous morning satsang, and that was a really good day too, wasn't it?
And also, if you remember, we were just walking down the street, just the main chai shop,
and
Muji happened to be there, and and they're all just spontaneously. Just, I mean, everyone having just a cup of tea, and then slowly gather the crowd, and in the end, we went to his place, or that
the rice farm.
Farm.
The rice farm,
and then just
the rice mill. The rice mill.
That's
He used to have satsangs in a rice mill in Tiruvannamalai.
Yes.
So, and as Guy said, we were walking just straight across the road from Ramana Ashram is a chai shop, and it's not my favorite chai in Tiruvannamalai, but we saw Muji, so we kind of went in. There wasn't that many people sitting with him, and we were talking, and then he said, maybe we'll take this back to the rice mill. And he said to us too, he said, you guys gonna come? And we said, all right. So we jumped in the tuk-tuk, rickshaw, and we went there. And there's kind of it's a funny thing with India, those sorts of spontaneous things just happen. And it's really strange, like, because you'll be walking in like, Rishikesh or Varanasi or something like this, and there's just a guru there or a sadhu, and spontaneous satsangs happen. And it's just, the whole place is a trip. It's my favorite place on the planet. And Slowbris, I'm 27 years old this year. That's it. Guwahati. Yes. Guwahati. The Kamakya temple. I always forget the name of the temple. Awesome. Yeah, it's that main temple, one of the main temples in Slowbris in the song. I showed you that temple before in Guwahati. William, you're in New York. Yes, check out the Vedanta Society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's going to change your life. Yeah. Once you go start seeing Swami Sarvapriyananda, it's game changer. Game changer. Actually, you finish like with what Guy said. If you don't understand, is like for example, if you go to Tiruvannamalai, right? Because if you're there for Ramana, or you say back in the day, people would go to see Muji, and now they go to see people like Swami Appanananda and that. Some people will say, we knew an Australian guy here, and we're like, what you doing here? And he's like, I'm just finishing it off. So if you know what we're talking about, like finishing the ego off, it's done. Like this life is, I'm done. I'm sick of being me, and this is, I'm here to finish myself.
The passport and
I'm finishing it off. And he was a bit older, so he was like probably early 60s. This guy, he was an artist, and he was just fully, he's done. Right. So, and I mean, to me, it's a beautiful thing, because this is my bread and butter. So when I see that, when I hear that, when I encounter people like that, it makes me happy. Man Lim, love your channel. Man, thank you. In Slowbris, I think we only have Indians themselves to blame for the Western media portrayal of Hinduism. Yeah, well, Indians do quite a disservice to their culture by not teaching these philosophies in the schools. Yes, this is true. This is true. In the schools and colleges, and Marxists and leftists in general can get away doing their stuff without any resistance, because there's no counter narrative. Yeah, it's ridiculous in Slowbris. I don't know actually how a lot of Indians let that happen. And I know probably the BJP and this and that are probably, I don't know, they've tried to, I don't know if they've really tried hard enough to correct that, because I don't really know how the Marxists and the leftists got in control of academia in India. I don't really know how that happened. I was a bit blown away back when I started my work, when I had a lot of Indians coming to me going, I wish you had have taught Advaita Vedanta at my school. And I'm like, what? You're Indian? How do you not know this? Yes. But but then I gained more information on how the education system is completely bonkers in Indo. And so, you have what you have, right? So, but with people like yourself, my friend, people are waking up. Actually, a really good channel for a lot of you to go and have a look at if you're interested in that sort of information is Upward. And there's a guy on there called Ashish Dahar. Absolutely love that channel. Go and check that out. Pankaj, hey Jason, what do you say about Ashtavakra Gita? Love it. We'll do probably a podcast, or I'll do a few videos on that in the future. Big Dog, did you guys meet in Japan? No, we met in Australia. Big Dog, how's the Aussie lockdown? Only some states are in lockdown. Big Dog, we're in Queensland, it's not lockdown. but in some where we can't get out of the state. So you could say we're locked up. We're not locked down. We can't get in. We can't get out,
Sure.
and people can't get in.
Sure.
It's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, okay, let's keep going. Jadley, thank you. Lindsay, hi. Hi, Lindsay. Lucid Quasar, does Taoism have a perspective of the value or approach of shadow work? Seems like you might risk creating more of a separation by elevating these unpleasant aspects of yourself to the mind stage. Yeah, I speak about the shadow in Effortless Living in relation to Taoism, so I highly recommend going and checking that out. But again, also you don't want to also elevate psychology above Eastern spirituality as well. And I'm not saying you ought to elevate Eastern spirituality above psychology. This is again another problem with Westerners, where they think that Western teachings and Western schools of thought should define everything. And this is, yeah, exactly. It annoys, especially it annoys Asians, right? So because everything then is filtered through the Western academic lens, which is ridiculous. So there's different schools of thought, and it's funny because there's books in Asia that look at Western psychology through the Eastern philosophical lens, which then you get into interesting territory. So where a lot of people go, yeah, but what about the shadow and this and that? It's like, well, that was talked about for thousands of years in the East. It's not.
Yeah. Yes. I was gonna say basically the same thing, that shadow work and this and that. We are very familiar with that kind of concept through mainly Western psychology, mainly work by Freud and Carl Jung and Adler and that sort of psychologists. Their work is brilliant, but shadow work, working on samskaras basically are mental imprints which we kind of subconsciously, unconsciously accumulate within ourselves, and work on that been
Thousands of years, yeah.
maybe longer.
Longer.
Yeah, so 2,000 years. I mean, when
older, yeah.
So before Shankara, if Shankara was the
that's
one
long before
who,
Shankara, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know how old it is really. Like as far as we go back to Indus Valley civilization, that's the when they really dug deep into human mind. So as far as we go back to that kind of history, that's that.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I mean. Like, and it's just interesting that it's frustrating for people, especially for myself, because I teach Eastern philosophy, that when you have Westerners frame Eastern philosophy through Western lenses, as if Eastern philosophy doesn't already have that knowledge as part of its repertoire. And so that really, it's frustrating. Like as Gayoung mentioned with samskaras, it's already there. It's already there. And it's a really detailed understanding of the shadow, the subconscious, the unconscious. And so, I mean, and I speak about that in Fasting the Mind, right? I speak about that in Fasting the Mind, a little bit in Enlightenment Now, I think. And so it's really frustrating in some sense because, especially in India has had to put up with this kind of Western framing for so long. And it's happened since the British were there, obviously. And it's still going on today through liberal academia. So, and again, and it's not a negative thing against psychology. Psychology is great. I've studied psychology as well. I love psychology. And I see the benefits of studying both psychology and Eastern philosophy, as you see with the work of Georg, Ken Wilber. Even if you go back even to Sri Aurobindo did study psychology. And that's how he came up with integral yoga, right? Was through the study of psychology and the yogic tradition.
Well, I guess the reason why we feel more familiar with the Western psychology is because probably most recent and more kind of palatable to our way of thinking today, I think. Whereas the Eastern approach is it's ancient, it's old, and it's very sophisticated, and it's very vast, so you kind of don't know where to start, right? So I think that's why we think that when we think of shadow work and psychology, we tend to think mainly the Western psychology.
Yeah. You have a good point, because, and a lot of people probably understand that too, is, you know, Western psychology does sort of look at the modern perspective.
It's very clear cut. Like, it's
yeah.
very categorized in shadow self and super ego and
Yeah.
ego, and it's pretty. The concept is very distinctive. Whereas if you were to look at Hindu philosophy, especially, then we were to look at Samkhya yoga, classical yoga, and the Vedanta. And where do you start?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So
it's more complex.
Much more complex. Yeah.
But once you understand it, it's actually much more, well, sometimes much more beneficial, because they're older systems that have been refined for thousands of years.
Yes.
As opposed to a discipline that's only been around for just over 100 years.
Exactly.
So
that's why I think, again, studying both psychology is beneficial. And not just one or the other, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know. So, and I wanted to also say that, so like a scholar like Ava Wong, a Taoist teacher and scholar, Ava Wong, she had been frustrated 20, 30 years ago because Jung was framing, and actually Richard Wilhelm in some sense is maybe guilty of this a little bit as well, of framing Taoism through the Western psychological lens. So, but you have to understand Taoism in and of itself. If you understand what I mean, you can't understand Taoism through the lens of psychology. You can understand it to a certain degree, right? But that's not actually how you understand Taoism. You have to get out of the concepts of psychology. That's like saying we're going to understand psychology through Taoism. And it's like, well, that's kind of, if you said that to a Western academic, they'd say you're a damn fool. So it goes both ways, right? So that was one of the frustrations of Ava Wong, because she would read, say, the I Ching, the Richard Wilhelm translation, and Richard was deeply influenced by Jung. And look, I love the Richard Wilhelm translation of the I Ching, but in some sense, it's not an authentic translation, because it's not actually through the Taoist teachings. It's through a Western psychological lens, which can be problematic, right? So,
well said.
Anwesha, thank you. I think you missed my question. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, you want to read that one?
Yeah. I can focus on any tasks nowadays.
Cheers.
I keep getting compulsions to talk to this one person who isn't interested in at all. What would you suggest?
This is more of a private question, Anwesha. I can't focus any task nowadays. I keep getting compulsions to talk to this. Is this kind of to get more context? This person is a love interest of some sort, or I mean, it's a bit difficult to answer that without a lot of context.
Yeah.
Kent, I've been watching for about half a year now. Great work, guys. Kent.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Blue Vanaboo. Congrats. Thank you.
Thanks.
Diane, congratulations. Love you too. Hugs.
Thank you.
Evie, congratulations. Thank you. Inspiring work. Love from the UK.
Oh,
Evie, thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne, well said. We all be a betterment for self and be an example for the betterment of the world. Always maintain to be one with the universal consciousness. Congratulations. Next 100K. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Well said, brother. Enjoy the Philippines. We'll see you over there.
Insalubris, thanks for telling me. I would definitely check out that channel.
Yes.
All right, have a look at that. You'll love it. Upward.
Yeah.
Word, not upward. Upward. I know my strange Australian accent. Upward. Say word. WORD. Sorry, guys. the Aussie accent isn't
Just in case.
isn't the most clear. There's a funny story when you first met me. And
I thought he was from New Zealand.
Yeah.
No
She
idea.
couldn't understand a word I said.
Yeah.
Anonymous, why scientists are so interested in consciousness recently? It is interesting. But not just recently, they've been interested in consciousness for a long time. It just depends. I mean, it's got a lot more, obviously, in this day and age. So even if you go back to scientists like David Bohm, and I mean, you're going back to the 40s, and I mean, you could go back to Max Planck, right, in the early 1900s. I mean, Einstein used to speak about consciousness too. It just wasn't his central focus. Daniel Stewart in the house. Dan,
Is it that Dan?
There's a few Daniel Stewarts here. I don't know if it's the Dan Stewart,
Dan?
but
Dan we
that's
met?
that's the Dan Stewart.
Did we meet in Morgantown?
If he changes avatar, then you'll know it's Daniel.
Okay.
Travis, have you guys attended the Kumbh Mela? No, we haven't, Travis. We want to, but timing, everything hasn't aligned. Every time the Mela was on, or the Kumbh was on, we were always out of India for whatever reason. Anwar Shah, yes, he was a lover at some point. Okay. I did write a full-blown comment, but there's a word limit, so yeah, that's YouTube. It's difficult to give advice on, particularly personal matters like that. You know, old school information of all time heals wounds. Doing things to try and take your mind off this individual. If it's untenable, the relationship, if it's something that can't be mended, then you have to do the work to try and get your mind off this individual. Spiritually, particularly for yourself, you know. So dive deeper into your spiritual practice. If you don't have a hobby, get a hobby. You know, I mean, I can only give you the most generic advice because it's really hard to give advice on personal matters like that. But without knowing you personally, I mean, so. And breakups can be very difficult. We all know that. So it takes a long time, particularly if you've been with someone for a long time, then it takes, the longer it's been, the longer it takes. So there's really no one medicine for all with that. Eric, that's woman's not in the now, projecting past and future. I don't know what you're talking about, Eric. Or who you're talking about. Anyway. Lindsay, grateful for everything you do. Your videos have helped me in Taoism journey tremendously. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
It means a lot. No, I haven't been to the Udang Mountains, Andrew. Haven't been there. I have plenty of friends who have been and have lived there. And Salubris, a lot of people seem to believe that Hegel, although he hated Eastern philosophy, stole a lot of stuff from the Upanishads. What do you guys think? A little bit, maybe, if you read Hegel's stuff. I mean, it's really, there's a lot of deep stuff. And I don't know if he was completely against Eastern philosophy. Okay. Anyway. Who we got? Dan, hello from Wales in the UK. Wales in the house. Waves. Waves. There you go, Dan. Nice to see you. Come on, guys, keep the questions going.
Yes.
We'll do it for a little bit longer and we'll see. We might cap this off at about 3 hours or something like that. Unless we're having fun, aren't we? So it's good to see you all. So Need to start my day. What's he saying in Korean?
감사합니다. Thank you.
Awesome.
This chat.
It'll be only available on Patreon, Dave. So all Patreon members get the live stream. So I take it down usually because, well, it's a live, right? So it doesn't really make sense to leave it up. And a lot of the live ones don't get many views after. So no one really watches it. So I just put it in for my members in Patreon. So we do have a new podcast out tomorrow. So,
Yep.
but if you want to become a patron, you can become, and you'll see the live stream. So, actually, I don't mind. I think this is not too bad with both of us doing this.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Ever seen George Thompson? Yeah, I know George. George has wrote to me a few times. Yeah, I like George. He's cool.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty young guy, isn't he? I like him. George wrote to me saying he read Fasting the Mind and really loved it, and yeah, George makes good content too.
I mean, when we were able to travel, that he actually went to learn from his master over in China.
Yeah,
I really like
Master
his,
Gu.
Yeah,
and Master
really
Gu,
cool.
he reached out to me as well. For any of you who know Master Gu, so we've had some conversations. I will probably go and see Master Gu if we go to China. Well, when we can go to China, or when we can get off this island. Dava, hi. Don't know why I got recommended to your stream. I'm just watching you guys. Hi, David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Harry, did Wayne Dyer have a good Taoist view, do you think? I think so. I mean, I like Wayne. I mean, I don't want to beat up on the dead either. So, I mean, I enjoyed, I don't know if any of you guys watched. I mean, you might say it might be a little bit new agey, but Wayne's presentation on the Tao Te Ching, which I thought was really beautiful. But you could probably say, okay, maybe a bit new agey. And look, Wayne did have some problems with some of the things he said on the Tao. Him and Stephen Mitchell had a bit of a court case about certain translations, so which I don't want to go into a lot, but that is something that happened. But I think in general, Wayne, I know kind of like, someone who's been on Oprah or, Hay House authors and this and that, people kind of, especially who are really interested in Eastern spirituality, try to keep a bit of a distance, right? Like, it's like, oh, I don't know about that. They're on Oprah. That means they're, maybe they're just spouting New Age philosophy. But I don't know. I like some of the things look. And to be fair, I didn't read a lot of Wayne Dyer. I watched more than I read of Wayne. So. Can you wait for your mud to settle? Anyone can wait for their mud to settle. Lizzie, you want to read them?
Yeah, congrats on the 50K. Many thanks, Gayoung and Jason, for sharing so clearly Eastern wisdom. It changed life positive. Also, mental health is completely changed in the good way. Shanti, Shanti. Oh, thank you. That's really good.
Means a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's what we get a lot. We get a lot of those sorts of comments, don't we?
Yeah, it's a kind of funny. I mean, we were talking about this before. It's funny feeling that it stayed within us a lot for a very long time. Obviously, now we share time and the knowledge with a lot of people, a lot of you guys, which is really good, and grateful actually that people actually find it beneficial on their path, and yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it means the world, Someone wrote to me on Twitter just the other day saying that they really appreciate my content on Twitter because on Twitter, it's a soup of nonsense, like the way I've Twitter has been described to me is it's like a public toilet wall. You know, when you go to a public toilet bowl and people just they just write whatever on there. That's what like Twitter is. And so someone said to me, "Thank you for like bringing a lot of positivity into Twitter. You've helped my mental health with this platform, like in checking the platform. Not that I recommend Twitter, but I'm just saying like, and so especially when we get comments about mental health and this and that in a world that's increasingly going insane, it means a lot. It really does. In Salubris, do you guys have any plans on visiting India in the future? Yes, we do. In Salubris, we're trying to get back to India ASAP. But the visa requirements in India have to change. When we come to India, we don't come for a month. That's the visa that they've proposed at the moment for India. So if they change it back to the 5-year visa, well, we'll be there tomorrow. And we'll be in Guwahati and we'll be saying hello to yourself. So hopefully soon. Yeah. Our plan is March. So, and I don't know, hopefully we'll see. Oh man, look, we all know, right? We've all been living with this for the last couple of years and everyone's over it. And governments change their mind like they change their underwear. So, 6574 in the house. Love your videos. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you, Bart, Flanders, Belgium. Love it, Bart. Good to see you. Anonymous, love your videos. Thank you very much. Anonymous, thank you. Awesome. Harry, would you go on Oprah if asked? Maybe just to help get it out there. I don't know. Obviously, if you get asked, you go. But I don't know if Oprah would be into this sort of stuff. I mean, I doubt it. I mean, it's not about they're not about the identity. I don't know. I don't really see that ever happening. It would be fun. I'd probably get booed off the stage. Is the Tao and Brahman the same thing? Yeah. They're framed and they're explained differently through the philosophies, but the idea is the same. It's an ultimate substratum, ultimate reality that is immanent within reality, but also transcends it. So, you wanted to say?
They just come from different culture and different background. That's the only difference. Yeah.
Exactly.
But in essence, they are the same.
You could also say the Dharmakaya or Shunyata are the same in Buddhism. When you understand the essence of that knowledge, as opposed to getting caught a lot in the semantics of the philosophies and the cultural tenets and stuff like that. What do we got? Charles in the house. It is very beneficial to our path in this day and age. We need community, even on an online one, to walk further.
Yes.
I hope that you guys enjoy this community. Yeah, like it's been slowly growing over the years, and I hope our podcast and my videos have been. I hope that you appreciate it, and like I've told you guys many times before, I get sort of emotional talking about the community because it means a lot that there's a lot of people out there who are really serious about this, as opposed to watching like entertainment videos about spirituality. I get a lot of comments where people say to me, "Why don't you make like a video on Taoism for beginners or something like this?" And it's like, but in like an entertaining and cinematic way. And it's like, well, there's thousands of videos like that out there if you want to go and have a look. I mean, this channel is more for serious students who want to dive deeper into Eastern philosophy. So, and fortunately, there's a lot of people like yourselves out there.
Yep.
But rather to the opera than to Oprah. Jason Cooper, thank you for your videos and kind wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I mean, Gayoung being a violinist, of course. That's why he said rather to the opera than to opera. Awesome. Tobin in the house. Tobin. Cameron. Cameron. Hello, Jason and Gayoung. Sorry to be joining late. Better late than never. Congratulations on your success. Thank you.
Thank you.
I used to play violin too, by the way. Awesome.
Oh, good. Cameron.
Tobin Cameron is, well,
Tobin.
Tobin, let me know if it's Tobin or Cameron. This
Okay.
husband, wife. Dava, it's a good question. How do we overcome the sense of this sense of insecurity? I lose my sense of self-worth without having money, possessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cameron. Social status, physical beauty. I don't know who am I without having these. Well, that's because the culture that we're raised in, a lot of people is dependent on the identity. And so once you understand that the identity is manufactured and a part of the socialization process, it's manufactured. It's not real. So now there is, not to say that you won't exist if that's not there. You'll still exist, but you won't be possessed by the concept of money, social status, physical beauty. Other people's opinions of you won't define your existence. That's the point, right? So when you're an identity, you're so self-conscious about what other people think about you. And this is what insecurity is. You depend on the opinions of others. And so insecurity, as Jiddu Krishnamurti mentioned beautifully, is inherent within the identity. It's inherent within the identity. You create these borders in your mind to live in, and then when different knowledge comes in to affect it, or if your physical beauty standards get torn down, then all hell breaks loose in your life. But if you don't have any of those, you know what I mean? You're free. You're free. So the work is to work on yourself spiritually and to disintegrate that identity, to work on it, to understand, well, why do I need someone to validate my physical beauty? Why do I need a lot of money and status to validate my worth? Because inherently you are worthy. And so you have to really reinforce this mentality that you're inherently worthy. This is the mentality of Eastern spirituality. You're inherently worthy. So, why are we not treating ourselves that way? Why are we abusing ourselves consciously, torturing ourselves because society wants us to torture ourselves? You're not good enough. It keeps saying you're not good enough. Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism saying you're good enough. Don't listen to the idiots that are saying that, because they also think they're not good enough. So, they're espousing the same false truths. So, Simon in the house. Congratulations. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Awesome, man. Good to see you. I've answered this question a lot, Noom Kin. Any experiences with psychedelics? What's your take on them? Neither of us have had psychedelics, and we don't really have a negative opinion of them. Again, it's a horses for courses thing, right? Like we have a lot of friends that have had a lot of psychedelics and have benefited from them, but we've also have some friends that have had a lot of psychedelics and have not benefited from them at all. I think it's a horses for courses thing a lot of the time. So, and it's an aptitude for different things as well, right? A lot of people get a lot more out of meditation than they do psychedelics, and some people get a lot more out of psychedelics than meditation. But there does seem to be a happy balance between both with a lot of people. For myself personally, I haven't been that attracted to taking psychedelics. I mean, there was one opportunity to take DMT. It was probably about 10 years ago, but the setting wasn't right, and I didn't really feel like I trusted the people that I was going to be doing this with. So, and I know that that's sort of having the trust of the people that you're going to do this with, and that, especially with psychedelics, can be very important. So, George C, thank you guys. I've been following for a few months. It's been helping me understand the mass psychosis. Awesome, George. I would love a discussion if there's a connection of the Tao to the ether, if there is. You would. Okay. I got you. Well, you could probably. I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs here, right? If you're mentioning the ether as something separate from the Tao, right? I mean, I know that a lot of people like to split hairs, and I'm not saying you're splitting hairs, but a lot of people who teach certain philosophies will like to split hairs. But and a lot of the things with the ether, a lot of people will associate the ether with the substratum, which is what the Tao is that sort of substratum with the reality. So, and any other thing outside of that would be then looking in the field of spirit or whatnot like this. So, which again you would say is related to somewhat the Atman, which is then identical with Brahman. So that's a difficult question, and a lot of people because they use the word ether, particularly in New Age, and they make that into some sort of glamorous heavenly reality, which is somewhat different or separate from
ourselves.
Yeah, ourselves, and also from the Tao. Like it's some sort of, some other place, almost not like purgatory, you know what I mean? But it's like a layer of consciousness, which is not really, that's kind of not how it is in Eastern thought a lot. So. Bart said to Deva, imagining what your possessions will be worth the moment you will be dying. Well, that's a good point. It's kind of straight to the point, Bart. But death is a good tool, right, to use for that sort of those concerns. Muji once said a long time ago, when he was talking about a businessman who had a lot of the same concerns, Dave, were about the businessman was always fretting about business, social concerns, family. This guy said that, and blah blah blah. And even on his deathbed, he had a Rolex, and he was like, "See my watch? You want to buy it?" Like he was stuck in this mentality of doing business. I mean, and if you're at that stage where you still have concerns on your deathbed, then you probably, you haven't really transcended your ego, so to speak. You want to be like, I actually saw not in real time, but the death of Swami Dayananda. And Swami Dayananda is just chanting Om Namah Shivaya as he's dying. Like it's really an amazing thing. So, Swami Dayananda, he's focused on the absolute. This other guy's focused on selling his Rolex. So, and Swami Dayananda was in a lot of pain, like most of us will be when we die. So, but his focus, his awareness was single pointed, regardless of what's going on here, right? So, which is a good takeaway for all of us. And Salubris, it would be great if you could make it. You'd love the Kamakya temple. At least I hope you will. Yeah, we'll love it, man. We'll come for sure. I've never been to Assam.
I've been to Sikkim.
Yeah, you have been. Yeah, you have been. Yeah,
but not Assam.
Lotus, hi both. I really enjoy your videos, especially the Letting Go documentary. I like the Letting Go one. Awesome. I'm trying to connect to my higher self. Any advice, please? Well, keep watching the videos. Develop a meditation discipline. Engross yourself in the great scriptures. This will all contribute and cultivate your sort of abidance in that higher self, in the Atman, so to speak. It'll kind of root you a little bit more and more that you further your practice. So, and you don't want to be flimsy about your spiritual practice either, your meditation practice. And you also want to pick the one that's right to your aptitude, that suits your sort of temperament, right? So like there isn't one sort of meditation practice that suits all. I mean, that's nonsense, but definitely like sitting stillness meditation is kind of it's very important. But if you overlay on top of that, probably Tai Chi Chuan practice or Hatha Yoga or Qigong or one of these sorts of practices, this will help you develop sort of a more rootedness in that And it's awesome that you like the Letting Go documentary. You mean the one where Gayoung and I are traveling India and Europe and that? That's cool. Not many people watch that documentary, unfortunately. Let's have a look. David, do we have a certain kind of diet if we plan to meditate and experience the same that we get from psychedelics by meditation? Psychedelics not legal in India. I'm thinking of going meditation route. Yeah. Meditation route's probably the most practical of the routes, Dava. Diet, you would know spiritual diet, Ayurveda.
Yeah, I mean, eating less, a little bit less.
Eating less, yes.
Yeah, the quantity wise, and I mean, eat as primal as possible, like clean food.
Yep.
And again, the Ayurvedic food is very helpful. All the spices and.
But also, like even like high fat, low carb diets are good. Also, obviously, reducing sugar.
Oh yeah, reducing sugar, and I think fasting also helps a lot. Yeah, when you finally stop thinking about what you're gonna eat, what you're gonna drink, then your mind becomes much more quiet and gives yourself a bit more space in your head, and which enhances your focus. Level of concentration will get deepened.
100%. Well, I intermittent fast. I do. So when I write in the morning, I don't eat before I write. So, and then at around 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'll have lunch. So I only have, and we normally only have 2 meals a day. So, I mean, if you go to a monastery, they only give you 1 meal a day. So, and sometimes they give you that meal at, so it depends on the monastery, but if you go to a Jan Charles monastery, they'll give you it in the morning. If you go to some other monasteries in the northeast, they'll give it to you like in the afternoon. And so, I mean, and if you're not used to eating 1 meal a day, it takes a while to get used to.
Yes.
But at least in a monastery, you're not doing much; you're just sitting a lot. So, but if you're out there in the social world, then it becomes a bit harder to fast. So, let's have a look. What the Lotus? Yes, it was great. What was that to you? Ah, yes, the documentary. Thank you, Lotus. Awesome. Daniel, does a path of meditation, which is Raja Yoga, include personal Saguna Brahman? Yes, it includes philosophically. Obviously, you have to transcend Saguna to Nirguna. I mean, Dan, what was kind of the question's a bit. Yes, it doesn't. It does include Saguna Brahman. But, I mean, it also includes Nirguna Brahman too. So, and for those who don't know, Saguna Brahman is a Brahman with qualities. Nirguna Brahman is Brahman without qualities. And so, especially like the paths of yoga, in some sense, being dualistic, not all paths of yoga, like a jnana yoga is non-dual, but yoga being dualistic is working with the qualities to, in some sense, attain the qualityless, right? So guna is qualities. So tamas, rajas, and sattva. So they're the qualities that we all inherently have. So, which is we all are part of a sort of this saguna reality with qualities. We are Brahman with qualities, but in nature we are Brahman without qualities, and so. Harry, people have such attachment to things, like in the movie Stripes, Francis. You touch my stuff, I kill you. They identify with possessions and money. Yes, they do. It is due to the ego. Because when you're building a identity, what's important to an identity is also what it accumulates along the way, which includes material possessions, not just psychological possessions. Actually, obviously the physical possessions possess you psychologically, but it's part of building this house of cards.
Yeah.
So, sandcastle. You on?
William.
We answered this before, actually.
Yeah. Do you guys have family? Children? No, we don't have.
No. Travis, is the Akashic realm or element the same as the ether and the Tao? Well, you could say, Trav. But again, the Akashic records and the Akashic realm is kind of is explained differently in Western esotericism. So, not that they don't you have the Logos and you have all of these things in Gnosticism that you could say is identical with the Tao, but it's not. The thing is, the Tao is Naguna Brahman. The Tao doesn't have qualities. So when we talk about the Akashic record, or we talk about the ether, you would say that that's kind of like a Saguna Brahman level. It still has qualities, right? Like it's like the Bardo plane in Tibetan Buddhism. So there might be spirits and energy and all of this that sort of that inhabit that realm. Okay, guys, we're at the 3-hour mark. We're probably going to have to pull the pin here. Brian in the house. Hey, Gayoung and Jason, what do you think about the phrase "be yourself"? Commonly used in the West. Why might this lead to egoism instead of authenticity? Because I answered, I think, this in one of my videos, Brian. I can't remember which video because I've made that many. But the problem is in the West is when someone says you need to be yourself, they think of themselves in relation to how they've been trained to be, right? So when they say I'm being my authentic self, what you see a lot of the times with people doing that is they are portraying how they think they should be according to the culture that they are in, right? And this is one of the pitfalls of pop culture, right? Pop culture, they say, I'm just being my authentic self. And it's like, are you? Because the way you're dressing, the way you're speaking is all geared by what the media say that you should do or the music you're listening to. Because to be yourself is to strip yourself butt naked in the mind, I mean. And that's how you be your authentic self. That's what the Genren is in Taoism, the genuine sage. And so that's the problem in the West. They say, I'm going to be myself. It's like, but you're not. You're being what the culture told you to be or what they expected of you and so forth and so on. So, All right, awesome. So anyway. You want to, you read that one?
Yeah. Then, question for you, Jason. Would you like to write a book in the fiction realm one day? Apologies if you already have and I'm not aware of it. And for Gayoung, do you enjoy writing as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I do like to write, but not in English. Not in English. Yeah.
But you write well in Korean, though.
Yeah. Needs a lot of block of time to really work on something. So at the moment, I do like to write a journal and things like that after deep contemplation or a good session of meditation. I do keep the notes down to kind of trace a chain of my own thoughts and things like that. And yeah, but I do have a lot of ideas to make it as a book format, but I don't know how long it's going to take. But I do have some things in my mind, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's for the one about the fiction. Yeah, I have thought about writing. I have a few novels in my mind and ideas, but it's like, for me, it's kind of, writing it takes a lot of time. So this current book I'm writing on Taoism, for example, I've been writing since May, and I only just finished last Friday. And that's due to, obviously, more work with the channel, and so it hasn't been like as my schedule hasn't been as empty as probably it was in the past. So, and writing's one of those things where you got to continue to build momentum. Like, it's not one of those things in general where you can just sort of pick up and you can come back a year time and you'll be as fresh as a daisy. It doesn't really work like that. You've got to really be dedicated to that book and time and place. So, and usually I don't read fiction myself, so I'm more adapted to writing nonfiction, and kind of exploring the depths of my mind. That's what makes me feel at home the most, is writing and exploring the depths of my mind, rather than, not that I'm saying that, I think it's not, fiction is a great form of art, and it can deliver a deeper message for people, but it's, for me, it's all a time thing, right? There's just it's only 24 hours in a day, 52 weeks in a year, and so maybe in a couple of years, I don't know.
You do have some brilliant ideas, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Gayoung does know, but it's
just too short of a time to do a lot of things.
Just not enough time.
Mm.
It's I have one more, not that I'm going to stop writing nonfiction, obviously, but I have one more nonfiction book I want to write, which I'll probably write next year. And then after that, I can't really think of a book I'm going to write. So maybe that opens up some time for that. Maybe, yeah. Depending on where we are.
Mm.
If I was in India, I'd probably, I don't know. I might start it, maybe. So,
yes.
Anyway. Awesome. Awesome. Let's have a look. Anyway, guys, excellent. Well done. Thank you for all being with us. It's 3 hours and 7. We've been on, and it's over midnight here. So let us know, did you guys enjoy this time slot? Is this a better time slot for all of you? Let me know. Say yes. We're sorry we couldn't get to all your questions. It's just getting a bit late here, so we're going to have to pull the pin. But let us know, is this time sort of suitable for you, or would you like to go back to the other time? I think that this time is good for other people in Europe and Africa, and also in India and Nepal and Bangladesh and that. So it is a bit early in North and South America, but it seems as though there's a lot of people from North and South America. So just drop a yes. Yeah. Burgit's here. Hi, Burgit. There's probably been a lot of people who didn't say hello. So, but anyway. I wake up on the East Coast, Brian. Awesome, man. Oh, wait, not a bad time slot. Awesome. Paige, I've enjoyed this time. I'm in Atlanta. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Thanks. Yeah, Travis, awesome. Victoria, well, Michelle, Finn. The Guardians, awesome. Yeah, cool. Mike, is it too early in North Carolina? Let me know. Maybe, possibly. It's a good time in Sweden. Yes, for sure. Midwest USA on fire. Eric, good. Anonymous, love from India. No doubt about it. Good time in the UK. Yes, Andrew. Thank you. That's awesome, guys. Excellent. I hope you enjoyed having Gayoung on.
Yes.
And Woods Victoria said, yes, much love. George, New York, awesome. Wayne, good luck in the Philippines, my friend. Where you guys live? Brisbane in Australia. Blockchain. What else we got? Yes, West Coast in USA, but I'm yes. Excellent. Good job. Mystic, good. Dan, love it. Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having. Thank you for yeah. Thank you for sharing time with you, Mike. Love you, brother. Everyone. See you guys next time. Tomorrow, next episode of Dao Te Ching, chapter 12. Make sure you don't miss it. Share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe now. And Harry, I'm up at 5 a.m. in Colorado. Awesome. Love Colorado. Excellent. So, guys, make sure you check it out. Subscribe if you want to watch the replay of this live stream. Consider becoming a member of Patreon. It all supports the channel. So, guys, much love and appreciation.
Thank you.
Shanti.